You guys left off. You had recently acquired a map, 3 maps. One of the capital that you are in of Gremond, one of east and west of where you currently are. And you were either heading to or had secured lodging. I don't remember.
Secured lodging.
Sure. You had secured lodging for the night, and you had found out how to lead the party / Eleonora to where she needs to go in order to apply for a shop in this town, which was the Merchants Guild.
Okay, so let's just go over this real quick.
Sure.
We're in this other town.
Yep.
In Pan's hometown, city, continent,
Country.
country.
Country
I did not mean continent. Might be.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Belor
Belor
Okay.
is the country name.
in the
Right.
city of Gremond.
Gremond.
Right,
Government.
right. And so in this city, we are here. Okay, we're doing a little detour thing right now, but the
Yeah.
reason we're here is because this is where we know to be one of the hubs of the things.
The Arcane Society.
One of their branches is located
Okay,
here.
got you. And then that's pretty good. I got you. Good nice recap too.
What you were gonna do with that?
I'll be there.
If you're gonna bust in there, we dealt with the Dimulus, pay us bitches, or if you're gonna go in and firewall the place, I don't fucking
I don't
know.
want to remember the damage. I want to forget the damage. Let's just drop it.
No idea what you guys are planning on doing, but you're here now.
We're here. We're
So we are going to the Merchant Guild.
Mm-hmm.
So we look at our map. Does it show us how to get to the Merchant Guild?
It doesn't have too many specific names on it, but you and Matt or Pam have talked to locals and determined where it was. So between the map and your instructions, you can easily navigate your way there. It does require you going through to the inner city area, which is another gate, but I mean, that's just a older gate from before this city had expanded, and so they had to build another wall.
And I has a pet. Lyneth.
Oh yeah.
What was your pet again?
Pseudo dragon.
Yeah, it's
You have
a
a
purple
pseudo-dragon,
blue
and
pseudo
Caleb
dragon
has
called
a-
the Bunny Killer.
Yeah.
Inkling.
It's like an in, kind of.
Yeah, he got the really cool imp.
Impling, sure. Which is in disguise as a monkey. I don't remember.
Yes,
what he
it's a monkey.
disguised
It's a
it
monkey.
as. But yeah, so you guys go through the gate. Not really any trouble. You can just ask why you're going through. You can respond honestly, or say you're wanting to buy stuff. Doesn't really matter. They're just kind of doing their job. You don't look like anyone who's wanted in this area, so no stopping, or you don't have questionable goods. Nothing illegal, so you're not
Not
stopped
this
at the
time.
gate. Yeah.
What, you still have that on?
I mean, you have your tobacco on you somewhere
Oh.
in a pocket in your bag. I'm not sure where.
It's not for sale, but you still
Somewhere.
have possession.
But I mean, they don't do full body searches or anything like that. They only really search like if you bring in crates or something like that. And you guys are continuing on the main road. It slants to the left. It seems like the buildings were. This isn't New York where everything is nice and straight. This is kind of Atlanta where fucking, hey, let's make a building here. What about the road, sir? Go around the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, it's not like that. So you're kind of like going on a road that goes like this, and you guys do get a view of the what Pan knows to be the Emperor's not estate, but like where he lives, where all political meetings go on, and it's at the top of a sheer cliff that has waterfalls running, flowing over both sides, and then he's just got this esteemed, very elegant, clean, giant buildings up there that like rains down and looks down upon the city. And as you're going along this road, you come across a bridge, and there seems to be a rather large river that cuts through the city. Likely the runoff of the waterfall that you see before you off in the distance. You simply cross it. You see various people, some with bags, some not with bags, with children, etc., in boats being like, what are they called? In like, I think it's Venice or
Gondolas.
gondola. It's kind of like a gondola, but it's more ghetto.
Ghetto?
I mean, they don't have to like the people don't have to actually propel the boat. They just keep it steady.
Okay.
Because the river current is not fast, but it's like enough to propel the boat. And you see them just going, and you look like left and right, and you see various bridges and places where people can get on and off of the boats, and they flow down to the left, which some of you with higher perception would be able to see and or just remember for Pan that the boats end there. They pull them out of the river, load them up onto a cart that's drawn by a horse every so often whenever they have enough, and then that horse is run back up to the top where you can get in, and it's kind of like a
So
circular.
it's kind of like rafting, like whitewater
It's
rafting.
kind of like rafting, but it's just quicker transportation throughout the city. It costs, depending on how many stops you want to go, a couple of copper to maybe a silver. But this is, once you went through the previous gate, not the first gate, but the gate you went through today, is the marketing area / there are some churches here. This is not the residential area. Where you were before was like residential / a home office kind of a deal. Like the map maker lives above her. This is solely merchant area. Like there's no homes in here. Like you could probably find somewhere to stay here, but it's more likely that you find it back through the gate where you were. You cross over the bridge and you're on what looks to be a very major street as it runs parallel to the river. It's like next to the river, but there's a guardrail so people don't just fall in. Pan, you'd know this as River Row. It's a major, it's kind of just like a straight line through the city next to the river.
Mm-hmm.
The river wraps a little bit, but River Row is only across the straight part. A lot of smaller merchants / cart merchants put up here. The people who don't have like permanent like buildings to sell in that might be just coming through sell on this row. So there's just a wide variety of who knows what's here today on this, and as such it's quite popular and busy. But where you're going is beyond this. You keep following the main road for a little bit. Again, Atlanta, so it's not straight. You go straight, oh hey look, a building, and then you have to go left and then straight around the building. But this is where you will depart off the main road, because the main road leads you, it ends up forking between going towards the way to get to like the government / emperor's estates, and then also it was extended for the horse-drawn carriage with the boats to be able to bring them there. But you don't need that. You take them through a couple of alleyways, and you're going to the west, which is more, it's newer, and so it's not as deforested. There are buildings intermingled with trees that are quite big and old. And the Merchants Guild, you know, is not super deep. The further west you go, the more trees there are. When you first exit and go through a couple alleyways, you only see like one tree here, another tree over there. But you know, the further west you go, it's like almost as if you're in a forest with the very outskirts of the city within the walls, having like a couple of buildings in there. Generally, if you're purchasing land that's not used, you'll be purchasing on this side, because you have to, and it's quite expensive because you have to pay to take down these giant trees and create like from scratch your space. Whereas to the right of the main road is more established land. But the Merchants Guild is kind of in the middle between the super foresty and the super not. And it's a pretty large building. It deals with mostly the day-to-days, collecting taxes from merchants in town. It's basically, if you have an issue that isn't on your side, you bring it up with the Merchants Guild. And of course, if you wanted to apply to get land or start up a business here, you would also come here.
Well, here it is. Merchants Guilds.
Why don't we go in and enter? We might need to join. Come on, Sahara, it'll be fun.
It sounds boring, but fine.
And this is the map that you guys have, just so you are all aware. This is like residential area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you need more detail on those, you can purchase separate maps for them because,
Can we have a "You Are Here" NPC placed on it?
well, you guys are currently at the Merchant Guild. It's one of the few things that you guys have basically like penciled in Merchants Guild, which is this one.
Oh, okay.
Purple means government buildings. This is actually just a statue of the first emperor, but it's considered government property. So, red means watchtowers. They're mostly along walls. These inner ones are from when the city was just this big, and then they expanded the wall out here.
Does the wall have a name?
No, it's not the Great Wall of China.
Oh no, Titans!
And like,
That's the first thing I thought.
there's a sheer wall here that the emperor's
thought so.
estate sits on top of.
Oh.
And there's waterfalls that create this river that runs through. There's a small hill. It's like a large hill / small mountain here that wraps around and provides a natural wall that scales up into a larger mountain over here, which is why you only see the wall like over there. And like you see, it gets more foresty as you get over here. Orange is gates or bridge. Yellow is the 3 churches represented in this town. And these are just permanent buildings. Like all of this black means it's a major roadway, but this straight line is River Row. And you'll just see like people popped up on generally this side. Sometimes they'll be on the river side, but people like to look at the river, so it's better practice to be on the other side. But yeah, that's mostly it. This is where boats are pulled out, and they go up here, and then they get put in here. And then this first stop is here. Second stop is somewhere. I think I accidentally colored over it, but it's supposed to be here and here. So you can basically get from here to here, here to here, here to here, or any combination of those. And the river obviously flows out in that way. But yeah. So you guys are at the Merchants Guild. If you ever want to see this again, just feel free to ask.
So we will enter.
Yep. There is one person in front of you. It seems to be an older woman. She's complaining about quality of goods she's received. She's yelling at the office clerk, although it's not the office clerk's job to deal with this, which the office clerk is trying to get across. Ma'am, I just schedule appointments. And she's just not even listening. Just, did you see? It's broken. Ah. A couple of minutes go by, and someone from a different door opens the door and ushers the woman inside to deal with her issue. And the yelling goes from in your face to muffled. Doesn't stop though.
Retail.
Hello.
Hello.
I was.
We have some broken gear. We are very upset. I
I'm
can't
gonna
believe
punch
it.
No, I had.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Leave the poor man alone.
We were wondering what the benefits of joining the Merchants Guild are. And if membership is open to.
I mean, sure. It's required if you want to conduct business in this town.
Okay. Well, how do I go about acquiring membership in order to conduct business in this
You
town?
fill out a form and pay a fee.
How much is the fee?
Well, the fee is 5 gold pieces.
Okay.
And the form is here.
Okay.
You accept a 10% tax on all profits, not on sales.
Okay.
And adherence to the law in our town
Okay.
and country.
Are there restrictions on to who may conduct business in this country? Must you be a resident?
No, I suppose not. I mean,
Okay.
we have merchants who come in from other countries to sell here.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I mean, no criminals, please.
I don't think I'm a criminal.
No dangerous people either.
Next question.
Well, no, it's just I'm from a different country, is what I'm
I
inquiring.
mean, you're
just
more
want to make
than
sure.
welcome to employ whoever you want. Just no.
Oh, I'd probably
criminals.
employ locals. I just want to make sure it's not against law for me to own a business here.
No.
Okay.
As long as you adhere to the laws, pay the fee, and pay your taxes, and nothing matters.
Okay. So I hand her 5 gold and I fill out the
You
form.
fill out the form. Form is basically name, type of business. There's also a secondary page where you sign to agree to adhere to all laws and rules and regulations and to pay your taxes.
Okay.
Um,
Magic shops aren't against the law.
what type of magic items?
It varies. I mean, obviously, I'd want to work within the limits of the law. It's just typically I run either magic or exotic magic shops.
Well, magic weapons and armors are not allowed to be sold to anyone without a permit.
Well, I don't really deal in weapons and armors. It's more like
Potions,
it's more like
scrolls,
items, not
Items
so-
are all
yes.
fine. But magic weapons and armors must be sold to people who have gained approval, or those. Well, I guess they gained approval as well. The city guard, they gain approval, but I mean, I guess they're technically different. But yeah, even if you have a registered weapon already, you have to still obtain permission to purchase more weapon or armor.
Okay, that's fine. I don't really deal. I'm not so into the weapons and arms category.
That's fine.
So now that I have paid my application fee, do I have to wait for approval before going and searching out a place to either build or renovate, or?
You are looking to build or renovate. I see. I mean, you could attempt to. I could put out a notice that you might be looking to purchase someone's shop front, or you can go around and ask yourself. Or you could look to build if you wish. It's a bit more expensive to build yourself, but it is guaranteed. We don't have too many lots available still, but if you're really dead set on it, we could look into that.
Okay, I was kind of noticing there is a bit more not a set up area, like it's a little more foresty.
Oh, yes.
If I like clear that myself, would that make it a little easier to build
We
on?
prefer to do it ourselves because those trees have been here for quite some time, and it's not even removal of the tree, it's transplanting the tree somewhere else, because those trees have been here since the creation of the city many centuries ago, so those trees are valuable. If it was simply removing the tree, it wouldn't be too difficult. It's keeping the tree alive and healthy and transplanting it up to the top of the cliff where the emperor resides. That is where it gets quite expensive.
Okay. And in the more industrialized area of the city, are there any available? It doesn't have to be a huge shop. It's just, are there any shop fronts available?
I mean, no one is particularly looking to sell, but there are those behind on payments that I could see if they've given up hope or not, if you wish.
Yes, I would love for you to inquire into that.
It might take me the better part of a week to get around to them and then get back to me, but I can definitely get that for you.
Do you want me to check back in a week or leave a location for you to like find me, or how
If
do you
you
want to
just
do that?
come back in about a week's time, that would be fine.
Okay. And how much do you think approximately that would run?
For taking over someone's shop? Or for creating a new plot of land for you to build on?
Let's start with taking over someone's shop. If no one's shop is available, then I'll look at creating my own, because I would like a location here. It's just making sure
I
that
don't know why I don't ever write this down.
I think I would have written it down by now.
Downtime, Pathfinder. I think it's in the downtime.
I think it should be.
Construct buildings. And I have to find seat rooms and teams. Sure. Rooms and teams Pathfinder. Title. This. Nope. Artisan's workshop. False front. Hunter storage. Artisan. What the hell?
This should be under magic shop.
Yeah, but I don't think that's. I'm sure you have enough gold. I think it's a few hundred gold. So I'll get that to you in a minute.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So for now, we'll just say she tells you the price. Taking over someone's shop is the normal price. Removing a tree and creating a plot of land is going to be...
Against the laws of nature. That's what it's gonna be.
Shut up, Dar. It will be that price plus probably about 100 gold
Okay.
extra, depending on where you want to set up and how big of a shop you want. If you have to do multiple trees, it costs more.
Yeah.
If you wanted a smaller shop, it would cost 100 gold. It's 100 plus basically.
Okay. Okay.
For now, we'll say you get your prices, and she'll get back to you on if anybody is willing to sell their shop.
Well, thank you very much.
Of course.
And we will head out. Do you know if there's an adventurers guild in the city?
We can look for it. It's been quite a while.
Give
Or a
me
place where we might find, like...
Give me a knowledge local
Okay.
check. Because you're definitely familiar with this town.
That was his
Nice.
next
Not bad,
They
not
have to
bad.
quest for it on leaving the city.
Untrained, so 12.
Untois, but you're familiar with the city. Yeah, there is an adventurers guild, however they're very exclusive because of the nature of how work is done in the city. Partially due to generally conceive the idiot emperor's rules. And as you heard, you can't purchase magic items and armors unless you're registered. So adventuring becomes quite the difficult and very dangerous life path, which is also why you only found masterwork items in the Melich's cave, other for weapons and armor. You found like potion scrolls and etc., like wondrous items, but those aren't impeded. So generally, if there is an issue, it's either dealt with by city guard if it's within city limits, or if it's outside of city limits, they the city guard, with approval from a government official, will divvy out the task to one of a few trusted like adventure guilds or like magic guild or something of that nature, depending on what task it is and who would fit the job better. And so the adventure guild realizes that it's quite profitable to have just enough members to fulfill those duties, and they don't really look to acquire new talent. I mean, if a superstar rolls in, they probably won't say no, but
Somebody looked at me.
I'm the inventor of the pan.
Seriously, guys.
But you know that they're very cliquey and very like inclusive because they get to divvy out the like basically live a very lavish lifestyle. And if there's a lot of people, then it becomes more of a dogfight of getting requests.
This is probably not the place to find work.
No, not really.
Well, why don't we go explore some of the shops? See what types of specific magic items are more from this area.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Have we left the place?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you're
Yeah,
kind of like
I
out
thought we were
walking, kind of
like window
aimlessly
shopping.
at first, but then with a purpose, kind of like looking around for said purchase.
Keeping a light eye out for
Yeah.
shops that might be a nice little setup area.
Yeah.
I was just making sure we weren't still in there.
No, you're not just sitting in there.
Okay.
No, you're idly walking and then walking with a purpose.
Because if you really want work, you gotta go to the underground.
Yeah.
Which I like not doing it, but if you're looking for work in this town,
I was more wondering if there was like a quest board kind of a thing, or if we
No,
could.
don't
I guess
answer
you weren't
that.
with us back when we were
Exactly.
in. I think it was Baton.
Joe,
We
work you
joined
to the
some
bone.
guilds. We still had Jamal on our team. That was so much fun.
I agree with that statement.
Oh, you like Jamal on your
Look
team?
like Jamal. He was-
Death? What's that? I
He was-
heal for 56 each turn.
Oh man.
I can't remember what character it was.
I think that was Dayton. Because Dayton threw him because he had to throw
Yes.
anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same throw.
I reject all course.
I still have my little badge in my
Need to
bag.
get into the Magic Guild? Dayton, throw me. Aye, aye, Captain. I need to get into the Martial Guild. Throw me. Aye, aye. We need to get into the Ranged Guild. Throw me. Wait, it makes the most
Yeah, it was
sense
in the
here.
Southern Capital. Magic Guild badge and Ranger Guild badge.
Oh my god.
I mean, I have a Merchant Guild card in Baton. Oh.
Throw me. Mo just throw me. What? Do it.
Okay.
Order 16. Oh, 6. Whoops.
Execute order
I could not
66.
remember.
But yeah, for the most
I
part,
get it. 6D6.
yeah. For the most part, there are lots of potion and scroll shops, because you can get potions and scrolls to augment your weapons temporarily. However, permanently enchanted magic armor and arms seem to be outlawed.
So it's not that it's outlawed to have them, is that it's really hard to obtain new ones?
I'm
I'm just trying to clarify this.
I mean, you can ask a shop owner. They
Okay,
probably
yeah, I'll
know.
ask one of them.
It's not illegal to have. If you have one, you need to register it. But obtaining a new one / further enchanting requires a permit. Yeah. It's just one of the laws that the emperor put into place at some point, and no one's really sure why. It's just kind of there, and you get the general feel that most people think it's real dumb. But I mean, hey, he's the emperor.
We should start a coup.
I agree.
I have experience with this.
Now you're
Well, do you guys
speaking
have
my
any
language.
type of
You know,
magic
straight before
scrolls
you
that are unique to this region, perhaps? Or, I don't know,
I mean, we got
items unique to this region?
items. Not really. I mean, I've heard of some people saying they found something unique, but like, I don't know too much about it. They found it from some cart salesman on River Row.
Mm.
Don't know if it's just kind of a silver tongue kind of a deal, or just quick fingers, like hey, look what this can do. But I don't know anything about that. But we do have most scrolls and potions. We have a very healthy supply of them, as that's kind of your only real option around here if you're going to attempt to adventure. Unless, of course, you get a permit, or, not that I endorse this, obtain magic armor or arms illegally.
Well, where I'm from, that's not considered illegal.
Yeah, I know, it's just our country, it's fine.
Okay. What do you know about this magic guild that I heard about?
This place is jank. What do I know? Not much.
Not much, because that's more, those are the people who walk very much so in line with the Emperor's rules.
Okay.
But they do so because they are one of two to 3 people who receive large payment to deal with any issues that occur. You heard of them before and you know what function they serve. However, you don't know you don't know where they are, you don't know who they are, but you know they exist. It's similar to the Adventurers Guild. You know they exist.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I don't
where they're
really know
located
much about
is-
them. They're a little too goody two shoes for my shoes.
Do you know where the library is? I'd love to read up more on these rules, just so we don't step out of line.
That place I would know. I'm gonna direct them to the library. To the library!
Yeah, there is there's both a library where it's more of like you can read maybe like the first chapter and then you have to purchase it kind of a deal in the merchants area. It's more of it's like a Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
It's a Barnes and Noble basically. You
That's
can
not bad.
lightly read and then purchase if you wish. But there is also a library that isn't used too often. It's very near the 3 churches. That's they like them and the 3 churches kind of form like a little cluster of non-merchantiness in the merchant kind of like area of
That's
town.
the cluster of education.
Yeah, kind of, basically. Because, I mean, the churches were built long ago, and so was the library before the residents moved further down and the merchants took over this area. The churches and the library were kind of more like, we're not moving. You can be merchants everywhere else, we're staying here.
On the way, I'd like to look out for any insignia that I know would be there of the Darkwings. Obviously, it's definitely going to be hidden, but I know that
Right.
they're there. And see if they either got removed or like they moved it or like something happened.
That's not too much in this area. It's more of back where the map maker and the inn was.
Okay.
Because that's less of the merchant, like higher level folk. And that was on the that's like on your road into the merchant area in the residential district, where the city guard don't patrol as much. But you know a couple of places that they might still be, but like this is heavy foot traffic area, so.
There's no like behind like alleyways or anything.
I mean, there are some alleyways, yeah, but because of the way it's constructed, alleyways are taken quite often here to get to places because
Okay.
roads are kind of shitty. But I mean, unless somebody knew what they were looking for, or they revamped the store or whatever, like a small little etching might still be there, and you can roll a perception check to keep a lookout for that.
17
Not bad.
plus 28 is 45.
Yep.
Sounds right.
You notice, you remember the placement about 3 to 4 on the path you guys are taking over there that should have been there, and 2 are still there. 1 is like there, but it's like you can tell it's been like kind of either like tried to be fixed or like painted over or something like that. And the other one, it's not there. You're not sure if it's because they redid the store on the outside or whatnot, but like, and they're real small.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, they're not super noticeable, but
Okay.
for the most part, they're there. They don't seem to have been recently like cleaned out and re-etched, but they still exist.
I'm gonna make a mental note of where those
Sure.
are. Would I know if the merchant area has like a curfew of like, kind of like at like a convention where like people
Yeah.
have to be kicked out?
I mean, the gates close.
Okay.
Like the large gates do close. It's not at sunset. Say sun would set at 7. It's a couple hours after that, so that merchants can pack up and get out. And there's like large horns that sound 30 minutes before, and then 10 minutes before, and then 5 minutes before. And there are places to stay if you do get trapped in here. However, it's highly advised you don't, because the lodging isn't designed to lodge so much so as it's like, well, people get fucking stuck in here, we'll do this. But yeah, it's much later in the day.
So there technically is a curfew, but
It's not curfew per se. It's just kind of like the
if you want to
gates.
get through
Yeah.
to the
It's not you can't be out on the street.
yeah.
It's
If you want to go home,
You can't
yeah.
travel.
If you want to go home,
leave by this time.
yeah. And I mean, most of the bars are in the like home, half, half. So generally, that's not an issue because that's where the inns are too.
That was my next question. Like,
Yeah.
what,
The
what's up with
inns and the bars are all in the same like 2-gate area.
Okay.
So like if you get super drunk, you can still make it to your inn or make it home.
Gotcha.
Like all of that. It's the part you're in is very much so either government, church, or merchant.
Okay.
It's not your inns, taverns. Like it's not your service places really.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So, and I mean, if you really need to get through and you're important enough, they will open the gates begrudgingly for you.
What if I think I'm important enough, but not really?
Then-
but I think I'm really, really important.
Then they won't.
Because
And
you
if
know, I slayed a demi-lich. I hope you're happy.
Well, you get Dimension Door. You can just Dimension Door over the gate.
yeah. But
Not necessarily want to use magic in the city, but
yeah. So I mean, it's not a hard curfew. There's kind of a implied hard curfew in that the guards will like come talk to you after 11 or 12 at night. I mean, if you're super drunk, they're kind of like, all right, how drunk are you? Do we need to like take you home or do that kind of thing?
What's the performance score? Right. 6. Oh, 6. No, that's not bad.
But it's not a
charisma based.
yeah, it is.
I have a 0 in charisma.
It's not a hard curfew as much as it's kind of like making sure there's no thievery or anything
Right.
like that going on, and guards are more active out at night. And if you're wandering the streets, you will get questioned why you are there. If it's like, I celebrate my bachelor party, they'll be like, do we need to take this guy to jail to sober up? Nah, he's almost home, and they'll like escort you home, kind of a deal.
I was just right over there, officer.
Yeah.
But you, when in doubt, feign drunkenness. That's how you live in this city.
Well, they're aware of that trick, and
Aw. I invented that trick.
You invented the pan. You gotta be consistent.
I did both. I lived a long life, Sonny.
But yeah, it's not like militaristic rule. It's just the emperor has whims, and well, nobody tells him no, so those whims become laws.
Great.
And then he might forget about it the next day, and then those laws are still in place.
Sounds like a swell person to be leading.
I mean, he has advisors that he can appoint or disappoint, or not disappoint, remove from office at will.
I like that word, but I like disappoint better, actually.
So they generally don't oppose him very much. I mean, you knew about that.
Yeah.
And you also know there's a new one that's helping fight crime countrywide.
What's his face that I got the letter from?
Yeah, I can give you the name if you really want.
It's somewhere in Discord.
Yeah. But, yeah. And I mean, they don't live up where he lives, but they, like, basically work morning, they go up there.
Yeah.
They have various estates that they probably live in.
They must be super fit, because that is a long way up.
Either that or there's some kind of a magic that allows them to go up, yeah?
Nah, they walk. I want to believe that they walk every day.
Well, I mean, they do cast water walking and then walk up the waterfall.
That's amazing.
You know?
They arrive soaking wet, but then they cast prestidigitation.
No. They have an army of level 1 wizards in training. Do it. Press the.
I gotta say.
That's also their posse. If anyone shows up, all right, boys, magic missile.
Hey man, it can't be blocked.
And the opponent shield.
Fuck.
Everybody run! Sir, it's not safe. Mr. President, get down. He's got the ultimate counter.
I want this to be canon now.
And then he has that one high-level general. Don't worry, boys. Dispel magic. He knows the highest level spell ever.
High level 3.
Dispels the shield. Get him, boys.
Get him, boys. Oh no, my one weakness, dispel magic.
That'd be a fun character to build. A wizard who just thinks he's the bomb, who thinks he's the bee's knees, and the only thing he's got is like a level 2 spell, and he's like, behold my power! Just like hits you with jolt or something.
No,
That's level 1.
He summons aggressive thunderclap. Look at my almighty power.
I know he only knows to spell magic, so he's Harry Potter.
I've slain at least 3 goblins.
I saw a Reddit post about that.
That's what I'm-
It was like, Harry, you can't just keep doing that one spell. Boy, my boy Harry learned how to yeet people's wands out of their hand. Why does he need to learn anything else? Everybody else is like, look at all these spells I got. Yeet! You got no spells now.
What are you? Yeah, right. Like, what are you gonna do? You don't have your weapon.
In the wizard world, that's busted.
It's so broken.
There's like nothing else.
He
you
needs
can do.
that
He's
and then
so
like a
smart
magic
that that's
missile
it.
equivalent.
He's
He's
got a
like, yeet! Now what? Magic missile, magic missile. And they're just like, I'm slowly dying. He picks up one, yeet!
He has the
What up now?
anti-wizard spell and the spell to kill the creatures who are supposed to kill wizards. Like, that's it. Those are the 2 spells he knows. That's busted.
He just needs like one other person who knows one offense spell, and he's just like, come
That's
on,
what-
pick up your
That's
wand.
what
He
Hermione
was
said.
tiny, like it's okay.
And just hit him with whatever damage
And
spell.
Ron was there too.
Yeet! Pick it up again. I dare
Dare
you.
you?
I mean, okay. Nope.
No, Ron's there for damage. Hermione's there for
Utility.
CC.
Like in the battle against he who shall not be named. He literally, that was the ultimate move. Wizard battle. Wand flings into the abyss. Oh man.
Not even Cedric Diggory knew about that.
Oh geez. whoops.
Harry's ultimate move.
Shouldn't have used that on the bridge. Now
Harry,
we can get out
you
of
gotta learn more things. Select feat, preferred spell. No, I don't.
Oh my god. I'm still waiting for a
Spell
Harry Potter
focus.
MMO.
I know-
That's an
I know
actually
this
good
is-
game.
Right. I know this is still going off topic, but did you see the post that was like no, it's okay. It's more fun this session than anything. Yeah, I mean, it's always fun. Did you see the post about how Gandalf was not a wizard? He was actually like a level 20 monk or something. It was like it was a level 20 fighter who took 4 specific feats to make him look like a wizard because they like proved it with his actions. He did nothing really wizardly. Was it druid? It was something very
I
specific.
remember.
Yeah.
He never like cast any spell.
Yeah.
I'm like, I take my staff and I ram it down really hard. I did it, boys. Magic.
He was what was it? He was a fighter with the ability to summon eagles, split the ground with his staff, which he had proficiency in, and like something else that gave him like 1 cantrip. And he wasn't. And in this were his stats. He was not actually a wizard. I was just like,
I hit that one
Oh.
cantrip. Dancing lights.
I was actually impressed. I was like, you know what? When I actually look at it, he's right.
He like never cast
Yeah.
a spell.
Nothing. He did a couple of parlor tricks at best, but like I was very impressive. I laughed. I laughed so much. Okay, I am officially done.
Alright. You guys have reached the library.
To the library.
Checking out is not allowed here, but you're allowed to peruse and read. Copy as much as you
What
wish.
kind of fucking library is this?
This city's messed up. Not for bad reasons. Everything is so out of place. Like it's just weird. It's a library, but you can't read books. And the king is a little jank. And the merchant's guild is a little bad. And the adventurer's guild's not the best. I'm like,
The Merchant Guild's not
I'm
bad.
sorry, I went with the adventurer's guild. I accidentally said
The
it twice.
Adventurer Guild adheres to the rules, thank you.
The rules are
Unlike
also
most
jank.
people.
The rules are
Two
also-
shoes.
Oh man, this is weird.
That's why we
I
hate
don't think it's bad per se. I just think it's weird.
It's a unique city. But yeah, you check in, you give your name, just so they have a name to put to the face if you do something terrible. They can put out a wanted
My
sign.
bow of death.
Yeah, just in case you do something bad, they know who to put out the wanted sign for, basically. Yeah, you're allowed to peruse the library as much as you want.
I'm gonna ask them if there's a book of laws
Yeah, for
and yeah, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll peruse that.
I would like to learn what kind of language books that they have, like learning languages if they have any.
And I would like the picture books. Okay, jokes aside. Are there any books here about that? Oh, I better not ask about that. I'll just derp around. Look.
To the
No,
picture books it is then.
No. I mean, this city is bound to have more knowledge about the Arcane Society than our city. So, maybe.
Do you want to ask about that, or just
Rather
kind of
not- rather
look around,
peruse.
try to
Rather
find
peruse,
it?
Yes. I'm
Uh,
probably not gonna, but I'm not about to ask.
Sure. They have a few books on various languages and how to decode and decipher and learn to a degree. It's kind of like backwards learning, where it's more of like this letter equals.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd still have to spend a lot of time to commit it to memory.
That's fine.
But they have all of the common languages, common just in case, Elven,
Just in case.
common Elven, Dwarven, all of those, Orc, all that. They have Abyssal, Infernal, Celestial as well. Those are much harder than the common languages to comprehend.
I would like to.
And they have the elemental languages as well, which are also
Fancy.
difficult because those aren't as much a written language as they are spoken.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to interpret what is on the page and how you should. Because Terran is literally the sound of rocks grinding against each other, which how do you describe that on paper and how do you make your throat do that? It's not easy, but this is like the step-by-step instruction as best as it can be. And Igni is kind of like flame, crackles, etc. So they're not very easy to learn. I would actually say the elemental languages are probably harder than Abyssal and Infernal because those have a written language. And they have a way of describing the tongue as it is meant to be more of a language than guttural, instinctive noises.
I'd like to sit down with the Abyssal book.
Okay. Learning a language, you do have to put a point in linguistics to do. However, you can decode any letters or some pages out of a book in a single sitting session with a linguistics check if you have such a letter. Or if you want to just simply try to commit to memory a few, like a phrase, a word, something like that, you can try to. If there's a phrase or word that you really want to learn, you can.
There is.
Okay.
Bathroom.
Bathroom? Easy enough.
Donde está el laboratory?
El baño?
El baño, yeah, that one. I didn't take Spanish in
¿Dónde está el baño?
yeah.
¿Dónde está el baño? Necesito ahora mis pantalones en fuego. Con gatos.
I was forced to take French.
But yeah, you can, by a combination of writing down, like a common limerick of how to remember how to say it, you can remember how to say bathroom.
Sure.
And as for rules, I mean, there are a lot of rules. They're kind of codexed into which emperor implemented them, how heftily they're followed.
I'm more curious about this emperor's rules more than any of the
I
others.
mean, the other ones are still in effect, but this emperor, for the most part, has banned magic weapons and armor. He has forbidden them to be made or sold, except for authorized personnel purchase only.
How about used?
Used is okay, not against citizens.
Yeah.
If you already own, there's not really anything to be done about it. However, if you are found to have an unregistered magic weapon, they can be confiscated. And you can face a fine of, I think, 500 gold pieces. And then you have to register you have to prove they're yours, and were not illegally obtained, and you don't use them for bad or illegal purposes, and then you can register them. The registration process is taken care of at the government building that is at the corner of the main street before you get to the gate that leads you to the Emperor's estate. There is a ban on, where is it? The things that stick out to you as more strange than others that this emperor has implemented is there's no hard liquor to be sold or consumed here.
No hard liquor.
Beer and wine, fine, but no hard liquor. No tobacco. Prostitution's kind of like iffy around the world, but here it's not allowed. No gambling as well. And then for the most part, it's what is generally banned elsewhere, like slavery, undead, etc. Like those things are outlawed. And the reason the emperor gave for all of these strict laws is that he wants to build a clean and safe city.
Well, easy.
There's a lot of laws adjusting, changing, increasing taxes.
From my other knowledge, like how much are taxes typically back in Itera?
It's more of a free economy there. There are taxes, but they are much more minimal. So with only those two references, you're not sure if Itera is low or this is high, but there is quite a gap between the two. And it could be a combination of Itera's low and Belor / Grimond is very high.
I see. You brought us here specifically to say, hey, appreciate the things they do for you in the other city. I get what this whole town is about now.
Pan has always told you that Belor sucks.
Yeah, I see.
It does. This is the last land that greedy ass humans stole away from the elves. These are greedy ass people.
I see. I take it all back. This place is the worst. Okay, maybe not the worst. We've seen the worst. This is pretty close.
Which place was the worst to you?
Huh? Like as a place I don't want to be. Probably any dungeon we've been in.
Well, I thought you were debating between where we rezzed Verloc and Montum.
Nah, I don't think it was Verloc was like that. It's
As a note, this is what the market is, the other side of the river. This is, where is it? Up here is like the Emperor, and then this is like the market district, and obviously you see the river down here.
What's that big tower?
It's a church.
Okay, should have known.
I mean, you're next to it, so you can be like, oh, hey, look, that's the big tower thing.
Is there a hay barrel next to me? Like maybe I can leap of faith off the building, get a good view.
No, Assassin's Creed.
Okay. No.
3,000 foot dive.
Haystack. Those are some amazing haystacks.
I hope I don't get this wrong, but I could have sworn I saw a theory it was actually from Game Theory's channel back when he didn't suck too much, where you actually would not die off that. I think it would just break a lot of your stuff depending on how much hay.
How high?
Yeah, and how high and how much hay. Like the highest drop will kill you from that top tower of the cathedral. But like all the other buildings are like, yeah, you probably sprain something. But
Well, it depends on where you land. If you land and snap your neck, you die.
The swan dive is very specific. It's always the same animation. That guy just like falls on the back top of his spine. He's like, I'll be
He's fine. And this is what you saw going into the city. This is like kind of the structure, and you see the wall kind of wrap a little bit.
He's the sunset makes it look evil. I'm just gonna assume
It's
that.
also the angle that you're looking
Yeah.
at. It makes it look darker.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Not
Sorry,
as
I can't see from
No, you're good.
It's funny. I was like, oh, that place is
That's why I was standing up to get a better
And then like the tilt screen. Oh, it's actually pretty okay. There we go.
against the gray effect.
But yeah, you guys can see like the mountain that protects them from the other side.
what's on the other side?
More of the lore, but
Oh, okay. So you said protect as if like there was a threat there.
no, it's just natural protection that they don't have to build a wall because of.
Okay.
But yeah. So, I mean, you find out about the various laws. You get the idea that your friends should probably register their weapons or put them into bags of holding.
Yeah, and armor.
And armor, yeah.
Yeah.
Or disguise them if you want to go on the chance that they don't get not dispelled. I guess kind of dispelled. Yeah, caught, dispelled, whatever.
I'll tell them later.
Okay.
So browsing, how long does it take to read all the laws?
Well, for the laws, about an hour and a half.
Okay, after that, I'm gonna kind of browse for the Arcane
Hi, Tara.
Society.
Tell me what I find, if I find anything at all.
Give me a intelligence check.
Okay.
Trying to decode how the
Oh,
library
by the way,
puts away its books.
Is there a I know my library has this, which is why I'm asking technically. I
No,
guess.
they don't have the advanced computer
Dewey
program.
Decimal
They
System?
don't have the Dewey
Not
Decimal.
Or
that.
the Library of Congress. and
Mine is
stuff?
a really old library, you know. No, they have the really big book that tells you where you could find all the other books.
They have that, but it's with the person up front because that's kind of her job is to both check people in and tell them how to find their book and to kind of keep books in the library.
Okay.
It's a very not small job, but like the library itself does not require too many hands,
I guess I'll just look next.
so they kind of combine jobs together.
Alright, what do you wish from me?
An int check, trying to figure out how this library organizes books,
Sure.
if there is such a system to how they organize.
Okay.
Can't confirm. That's what happens.
15 plus 2, so it'll be a 17.
17 int.
Okay.
And you're looking for the Arcane Society.
Yes.
Yeah, you can find a book that references them. It's not super in depth on them, but it's kind of like a book on guilds, organizations, etc. that have existed within Belor.
Okay, that I was about
It
to
gives
say.
a small but concise summary of who the Arcane Society is, founder and current. Probably not current leader, but current leader at time of publish.
Can you give me the tidbit?
Yeah. And you're not sure how old this book is because they don't print like circa X year. They probably have that in the catalog.
Can I maybe tell from the. Yeah, this is gonna sound. No, you know what? Dust wouldn't work. They probably organize these books every now and then. Never mind.
And if they ever get checked out, then they would no longer have dust.
Checked out, but I know what you mean.
Like pulled. The
What did you say this book is about? I want to just be sure I get this.
clubs, organizations, and guilds that have existed inside of Belor.
Alright, thanks.
The registered ones, at least.
Alright, cool. Go for it.
It's not a super thick book.
Alright.
It's just kind of a record-keeping book. The Arcane Society is a society of obviously arcane users. With their ironclad work ethic and endless scholarly pursuits, spellcasters naturally gravitate towards forming clubs and societies. The Arcane Society is one of said clubs. It was formed relatively recently, circa this book's printing, which doesn't seem too old to you. It's not like an ancient manuscript. You could probably ask how old the book is. And determine the approximate age of the Arcane Society if you wanted. The Arcane Society styles itself as an elite but harmless organization dedicated to the study of arcane arts, offering spellcasting, magic item creation, scroll scribing, and many other practical services to those willing to part the necessary gold. The circle's leader and founder is the self-proclaimed Eminent Spell Queen. And she reinforces her organization's commitment to the peaceful practice of sharing magic and is often known to do essentially community service.
Fascinating.
And she, along with a few other notable people that are higher up / have been there since the founding of the society, are very well received in the communities that they serve.
What is Eleanor reading?
She's made her, well, no, you started this an hour ago, so
Yeah.
she seems to be reading like rules and regulations of
Just
Belor and
over on the
Rome.
desk?
Yeah.
Alright, is it within view of the librarian?
If the librarian turned around,
Thank you, that's all I need to know. I'll walk over. It's okay. And open the book to the exact line I just read.
Yeah.
Does this name sound familiar to you?
I mean, it's not a name; it's a
Sorry,
title. It's a self-proclaimed
Yeah.
title.
I don't know magic stuff, so.
What role is this?
Int check.
Okay. That's a 9.
It doesn't stick out to you. It doesn't have any name of a person attached to it. It sounds ambitious.
Pretentious for a library.
A little bit.
Once I finish reading about the laws, I'm gonna detect magic and see if there's any books that ping.
There are a few,
Okay.
and they all seem to be clustered together. But you still have quite a bit of time while she's reading rules and regulations. If you want to try to find out more about this Imminent Spell Queen, or
I will.
go back to searching for more Arcane Society stuff.
After I ask her, I'll put the book back
Sure.
and then keep looking.
For which one?
Now I will change the search to the oh crap, what was this? I literally wrote it down. The what?
Imminent Spell Queen.
Thank you. I will now search for stuff about the Imminent Spell Queen, which actually they'd be more current. They probably wouldn't have books about it. How old is the Arcane Society?
You don't know.
Ooh, it didn't say.
I told you that you could ask how old that book was, and then you would potentially be able to, due to some of the wording in the book, get a guesstimate of a time frame of when the Arcane Society was formed.
I'd like to interact with the people here as little as possible. I'll look for the Imminent Spell Queen.
Okay. You do know at that book's publishing, the Arcane Society was one of, if not the most recent organization, club, guild, society, whatever, to have registered. That is of note.
Okay.
There's always someone trying to organize a guild or a club, but most of those crumble away and are just kind of like for fun or whatever. This one seems to have stuck. Looking for the Eminent Spell Queen. Give me a intelligence roll.
That's one last 16.
16? Okay, you managed to find 2 books that you think might contain it, prominent spellcasters throughout the ages, then and now, as well as a book on notable figures in current Belorian times. Again, not sure when these books are published, but if it's any time recently, you'd probably be able to find something about them.
Check at the front cover. It should tell you when it's published.
I'll read through it. Is there a index that'll make my life a little easier?
There is in both of these because of the nature of the book.
Alright, I'd like to do that.
Yeah. And at the end, it also, you do find that these books do have date written because they're more time based.
Okay.
Because they both reference like either then, now, or through the ages. So they want to have a time frame on what the ages mean for the book.
Okay.
And these books seem to be written. One of them was written about 5 years ago. The other 7.
Okay.
Well, I mean that's relatively recent.
That's not too bad, yeah.
For writing an entire book. And if she's an eminent spell queen, she's probably made a name for herself for more than a few years. So you flip through, and this is going to eat up the rest of your time that Eleanor is reading rules and regulations.
Okay.
She's mentioned in the Arcane Wielders book. She is it's somewhat controversial whether or not she is regarded as the strongest spellcaster in Belor. She is one of 2 to 3 arcane spellcasters that are known about / not evil and in the shadows that people know about in Belor that are the strongest. That's to say, basically, they don't know if there's like an evil wizard that's stronger than her here. because he doesn't go around doing deeds and flexing his muscles. So she's top 3 of the notable wizards that people know about in the area.
She's probably in the Magic Guild.
I see.
And in the other book, she is mentioned briefly, simply because she is both a strong arcane wielder as well as the creator of the Arcane Society. And so that has earned her a spot in the notable people throughout the ages. Not too much is mentioned about her that you haven't already gathered. She's charitable, outgoing, cheerful, a very good people person.
Well, before I get Dick Dog real quick, who's the author of this book?
It's not her.
Okay, I'm just. That's all I thought.
I knew that's what you were
Amazing. I'm
thinking.
like, is it her?
No, I mean, if you read a couple more entries, and it seems like they do like exclaim people's positives in this book. It's not just her that's kind of overly indulged. It seems to be the writing style of this type of book,
Okay. I mean, they're prominent figures.
exemplifying good people, and it's probably like a young adult book to try to keep people on the right path and be like, hey, look what you can do if you're, good and nice, etc. But it's also a information based book that you can use as a reference. So that eats up their time. Do you want to do anything other than learn bathroom?
We're joking about that word, but no, I mean just in general, just read through it, see if I can decipher anything. Learn piece? No. Friend. Yes.
Friend, I mean, you can pick up a piece or two. It's going to be very broken for the couple of words you take time to learn how to speak, but
Cool. I know friend and bathroom in episode.
bathroom friend.
No.
But yeah.
So you said that there was a few of the books that pinged as magical.
Yeah, and they're all clustered together.
Are they near the librarian?
Not particularly, they're just together.
I want to go kind of look at them. Like, what are they titled? That kind of a thing.
I mean, you gather that this is probably like the animated book section. Some are very fancy children's books that have magic paintings. Like, not magic paintings, but like when they're like pop-up books, but they actually are animated. And then a couple of them are they're all just animated to that degree. They're not like magic tomes or anything. They just have like pop-up pictures. Most of them are children's books. And then a few of them are like beautiful sceneries from around the world, or like not ancient, but like similar to Nathan, but like to a bigger degree of notable people throughout history. But it's not like Belorian specific. It's like, this is king this is the emperor, the first emperor, the second emperor, the third emperor. Like, it has like royalty and like humongous heroes who like saved the universe and that kind of thing animated in here, which is probably a children's book, but also kind of a reference.
Okay.
A little bit of both.
I guess I'll ask the librarian where the more like the religious or section is about like gods and goddesses.
Well, what do you want to know? I mean, we have a book on basically a list of deities and their portfolios and synopsises, but if you want to learn more specifics, that information is generally held within the churches.
I was thinking more if you had anything on Yao.
I don't believe that's a deity that we are aware of on this continent.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering if y'all had anything on like ancient deities
I believe...
or the creation, anything like that.
No, there isn't much history predating Earthfall.
Do you have anything about Earthfall here?
We have we don't have anything more specific than what most libraries, I would assume, have in larger cities.
Well, I haven't really researched it, so anything would kind of be useful.
All right. Well, we do have a book on ancient history, which I believe is what you're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah. I would include a little bit about creation and some of the deities' acts back then and what is believed to be what occurred. It can't be confirmed or denied. But we do have a book on ancient history that you could look at.
That would be wonderful. Where would I find that?
And she like points you to it. Be very careful with it. It is very old, but it shouldn't fall apart or anything. Just don't be rigorous or vicious with it.
Okay, thank you.
No. Oops, right.
Maybe
I'll learn something new.
This book is very thick and would take a very long time to go through. If you want to read specific excerpts about Earthfall, that wouldn't take too long. But the lasting impact and what Earthfall changed, you can learn what Earthfall is very quickly, but like the period after Earthfall and what it affected would take a very long time. It also kind of is the bridge point between after Earthfall. There's a period called the Age of Darkness where there's not too much known, as the sun was not able to be seen on this planet. After that, there's lots of knowledge. There's some knowledge on the Age of Darkness. There's some knowledge on Earthfall, and basically the further back away from Earthfall you go, the less and less knowledge there is. Earthfall itself is the name of a cataclysmic event in which a swarm of meteorites impacted this planet. It resulted in the destruction of the human empire of Aslant and Thessalion. Aslant were very aggressive and, not to misname barbarians, because most people when they say barbarians think animalistic primal rage, but they were very greedy. They were very greedy and aggressive natured, but they were also very intelligent.
How about Barry?
Aslanteans were humans, however they were almost augmented humans. They exceeded current humans in every aspect. They were stronger, faster, hardier, smarter, more wise, more charismatic.
And one was frozen in the ice and will rise in our time to be the hero.
The last living
not?
Aslant is named Aerodon, and he became a living god.
Snap. We know about that.
Yeah,
That's pretty
he
cool.
was the last living one, and he is the one that ended the Age of Darkness.
That's pretty sick.
I believe he swam to the bottom of the largest ravine in the world, retrieved an object. Let me...
Sounds sick, nasty. Cool. Oh, this is
One second, let me stop using vague terms, because
got a thing.
Pathfinder Wiki,
Swimming
or not
through a
Wiki,
place.
Pathfinder lore is so fucking...
Oh,
He
it's real.
retrieved, yes,
We didn't make this up.
no,
Oh.
he retrieved the Starstone from the bottom of the sea, founded a city, and then became a living god that is still worshipped. I think he's still worshipped to this day. Oh, it is not known if he is alive or dead.
You made it this far.
He is presumed dead because his clerics no longer receive spells from him. However, there are countless theories of how he died. Some include a battle with Robogug, some with Asmodeus. Some say he journeyed beyond the outer sphere, which even deities don't attempt. Or he was reincarnated into a mortal man to once again save humanity. So,
Yo, this guy is...
And that guy's name was...
Aerodon. Arodden. He was a man. He is the last. Aslanti human, and he saved the world and became an immortal living god
Okay, and you said there were 2 empires?
that were destroyed during Earthfall.
What was the second one?
It was Aslant, which
Yes.
is what Eridan was part of, and Thasleon.
This guy sounds
Based off of my knowledge of magic, can
I
you...
mean, there, if you want, because you guys are together, I can show you the picture, the common pictorial, the common picture of Eridan.
Oh snap! He's like a pirate.
More
He
like
looks more like
That's not the
Trinity.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
he looks like
a pirate, like
yeah.
Mongol.
a Mongolian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's from an ancient civilization.
Oh, it's cool.
Mongols.
I like it.
So based off of my knowledge of magic and how you can change your race, can you change it to be Aslantean?
You would need more knowledge about Aslantean.
Well,
humans.
not specifically, but I know like sometimes you re-roll randomly. Can it land?
No one has ever
Okay.
that magic is not super rare. It's pretty rare, but no Aslantean has ever been seen since Erwin.
Okay.
So it's safe to assume it's impossible to become one.
Okay.
I actually have an out-of-game question for you because this is too cool for me now too. Okay, so if I wanted in any way, shape, or form to make a character who was based off this, would Asimar work?
Not really.
Okay, because it's not only one guy ever got to that status.
Well,
So-
he actually went from mortal to immortal.
Ah, I see. So it wouldn't work after that point. Gotcha. I see the flaw in this point. Okay.
I mean, he's not the only mortal to ascend to godhood.
Right.
He's the
right.
most notable
Okay.
because he saved the entire world,
Now, and so
which is generally the level of
level
feat,
of yeah.
and you have to do it solo.
Okay, no teams. Okay. That doesn't play by
Normally, yeah.
Solo play.
Okay. So Earthfall
Gotcha.
is effectively ancient civilizations. Blah 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 blah. Meteors hit.
Good team. Like,
World goes dark.
The meteors were said to potentially be summoned by Aboleth, the oldest creatures in existence, predating deities.
oh.
It's
They
like
were
the Titans.
the Titans the Titans also exist.
Oh.
They are sealed though. The Titans are god slayers.
We got Titans here too?
Yes.
Man, this world is sick. I should look into this a lot. This is cool.
Pathfinder lore is awesome. But the Aboleth are the oldest creatures, predating Titans, which predate deities.
Okay. Are they still around?
Yes. Earthfall was said to happen because Aslanti humans wanted to increase their knowledge, prosperity, etc., and they formed a deal with the Aboleth because the Aboleth are incredibly intelligent. They have seen like with divination magic or actually seen everything. And so the Aslanti humans partnered with Aboleth to increase knowledge. And then, as human nature is greed and arrogance, they broke off their deal with the Aboleth. And it is said that the Aboleth were upset and caused Earthfall to occur. And the Aboleths summoned the meteorites.
And created the Age of Darkness.
Yes.
So the Age of Darkness is effectively where humanity lost all intellect until the
Not
Starstone was.
Not intellect, but
This story is sick.
the Age of Darkness. The sun's light was blocked by the ash knocked into the atmosphere by the meteor impact. So it wasn't necessarily that it was dark of knowledge. There was actually no light because the meteorites created so much ash.
How long did that happen?
1,000 years is the length of the Age of Darkness. It began in negative 5,293 AR, and it ended in negative 4,294 AR.
What does AR stand for?
I think Oregon.
I don't know. Sure.
I think
That's fine. It's not that important. The Starstone. What's known about the Starstone other than he swam to the deepest ravine, retrieved it, and ended the Age of Darkness?
Starstone sounds cool too.
Because that sounds like it may be one of the magic
Starstone
items.
is a unique gemstone meteorite that was part of the massive meteoroid which shattered. It was just one meteor close to the size of the planet you're on that broke up on the way that caused Earthfall.
Okay.
Earthfall was supposed to destroy the entirety of the planet, but the meteorite broke up and instead just caused huge ravines and destruction. The Starstone is part of that massive meteorite which shattered and struck.
Do they still hold a grudge?
Aboleth?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Oh.
Little is known about them because they're very elusive.
I see.
The Starstone now rests in the largest cathedral in... which country did I base that off
see
of?
this. That's so cool.
Oh.
You get the map over there.
Ephraia. It's in Ephraia.
And where was that on our
Um,
big map?
Over here. If we
Alright,
we're
so-
here,
here.
Ephraim's over here.
I think it's
You're
to the
in a
right.
neighboring country. You are here.
Okay.
It's somewhere in this country.
Oh, it's not too far away. It's only to go back.
It is in the Ascendant Court. It is where Aroden ascended, where anyone can take the test of the Starstone to attempt ascension to godhood.
But if you fail, you die.
In the ensuing ages after Aroden, only 4 other mortals have known to succeed the task,
Oh crap.
including Aroden. It's Aroden plus 4. Caden Kalin, which is the god of being drunk.
Oh,
snap.
I forgot about him.
Iomade,
Oh, okay.
and
I should know that name. What's that name?
the paladin.
Oh.
She is the embodiment of paladinhood,
Okay, alright.
outing evil, etc., etc. And Nor Gorber.
Okay. Who's.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You can tell me, because it's a cool name.
Reaper of Reputation, Father of Skinsaw, the Grey Master, Blackfinger, and King of Thieves. He is a neutral evil deity whose portfolio consists of greed, secrets, poison, and murder.
Oh,
Thieves, assassins, murderers, and spies worship him.
You don't have to be good to take the Ascension test?
No.
Oh, snap. Oh, that's dangerous.
Yes.
There
Oh,
are
man.
deities that are non-good.
Oh man, because I thought I automatically assumed church or like so I assumed you have to be good to take it. Nah, if you
Not
just,
all gods
if
are
you're just-
good.
yeah, sorry, I just blew it. If you're ready, I guess. You just walked in all bad and stuff, and you're just like, yeah, I should take a test.
The test of the Starstone.
So what do you need to qualify for this thing? Is there like a
Anyone
consistent,
can try.
Is there like a consistent motif of all these? I have to research that myself. Never mind.
No?
No one can eat pies quite like me. I like to ascend.
No one eats pie.
I guess
I mean, you're flipping around kind of to satisfy so far as marriages. The test of the Starstone is basically you must reach the Starstone. You have to go through an incredibly deadly maze to reach it.
Never mind.
I changed my mind. It's not worth it. Being mortal is great.
Those few who pass become demigods, while those who fail usually die. Not because it's a do or die test, but due to the nature of the maze. If you do not succeed, you most likely died because
So is the maze?
Do you have to take it
created by-
individually? Or can you take it as
No.
a team?
it is an individual test.
Nope.
Oh, man.
But I won't die to traps. Just the monsters. So is the maze created by the people who have the Starstone, or by the civilization back then, or by the Starstone itself? Like who dictates
It's
if
not
it's hard
known.
enough?
It's not by humans.
Oh,
Whether it's by the Starstone itself or by deities, it's not known.
Oh,
But
okay.
the nature of the obstacles changes over time.
Oh snap! Okay, so it is regulated by something. What?
The
regulated is
constant
like-
hazards include magic not always working right and the prevention of extra-dimensional movement.
Oh, are those constants?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So you can't dimension door to it.
Correct.
And magic not working right is very big.
It's not always working right.
Oh. Okay, so does that just mean certain spells are a no-go? Oh, dude, that's crazy. That's...
Very, very few people make it out of there alive
Can
that
you-
don't become gods.
Can you backtrack? Or are you locked when you decide to take the test?
You can backtrack if the thing doesn't kill you.
It's a maze. If you can run away, sure. But if you can keep up with that, And it's the hardest maze known to the world, so the way you took here may not be the way out.
And
It may change constantly.
Alright, last question. Is this maybe what Kyra needs to do to ascend, or is that something personally with Saren Ray?
She isn't looking to become a god.
Oh, that's right. She's looking to become half angel.
She's
Or
looking
half-
to receive the blessing of half celestial,
That.
which is different than
Oh, okay. I
godhood.
got that confused. I'm gonna go for that one. That one seems safer.
And there's nothing else that super screams out that I should know about the history.
I mean, history is important, but nothing seems to scream out at you anything relating to Zuno. Most of this is post Zuno.
Well, I was asking about Yao, so I wouldn't
Or
alarm
Yao.
her. But
Yeah, well-
yeah, I was really looking more for Zuno.
This is all about deities, and the oldest this goes is the rumor / believed thought that Aboleth predated Titans, and that Titans predated deities.
I don't want to diss Zuno or nothing, but this is cooler.
That's fine. Zuno and Yao created all of this, is what you assume happened. Speaking of Titans, many of you / all of you have heard what a Kraken is, both in character and out of character.
Yes.
The Titans, just to give you a power level here, the Kraken was their pet,
Nice.
They are,
and a Kraken is a CR-18.
so what you're telling me...
And
There's
they-
a chance.
And they slayed deities. That was their motif until they were sealed. They could not be killed, they were only sealed. Similar to
Great one.
Rovagog.
Nice.
Yes.
Better not mess with those guys. Are they evil?
The Titans, oh yeah.
Oh, okay, got you. Right, like
Them and Rovagog are like the evilest you can get.
got you. Titans bad. Titans just like Titans. Titans are always bad.
Yep.
Every media, darn it, man.
Yep.
Does this world have an Olympus? I might as well ask.
What do you mean by
like a
Olympus?
mountain of gods? Like okay. They all live on their planes and stuff.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
There's no one mount that they live on.
Is there?
Once we're done studying in the library and whatnot, if nobody else has anything they want to kind of research,
I'm good after this book.
Oh, the only other thing, because you spent some time on Aslanti culture, is that it is believed that their technology, magic, and civilization was even more advanced than current day.
is
But
there
it
any
was
idea
all-
of where it was located?
There's an idea because it's a giant crater / chasm that's now filled with water because it was destroyed
Oh,
by
that
a
and
meteor.
that's the deepest ravine, probably. Where is that supposed to be?
It's in the
Like, can you give me like a generic
it's
area?
not here. It's on the
Other side of the world.
not completely other side of the world.
But I want to check that crater.
There's a shit ton of stuff you guys can do. You just gotta.
This one will take like what 100 years. We got time.
We got time.
Somebody will be dead.
It's
Naturally.
where you guys went to help Kyra to resurrect Verloc was this side, like over here. If this is like round, it's like over here.
But it's
It's
not.
But it's flat.
the crater. The crater would be more over here because this is the Elven lands and they're the
So it's
oldest
past the
civilization.
the uncharted area.
Yeah. For you guys' sake, your civilizations exist here. It is in this basically map. There exists more elsewhere,
Want to see the crater.
but you gather that it's either been too dangerous or unsuccessful to find other civilization. Well, current civilization. So,
Interesting.
there could exist
There's
more
a field trip in
civilization.
our future.
Other side of the world.
Why do I feel like it's gonna be just like the Grand Canyon, where the people who are interested are gonna be like, oh, and the people who aren't are gonna be like, it's a hole in the ground, you guys.
It's a hole of water.
As a note, Aslantians were directly connected with Babolith. Or not Babolith. Aboleths. They were pretty much barbarians, and then the Aboleth granted them knowledge, and with knowledge comes civilization and etc. And then eventually they couldn't get rid of their human nature, so they did get greedy and cut off ties.
How human.
But yeah.
So what I've learned is we all need to learn how to breathe water.
I think we should not. What I've learned is
I
that
have a
humans
feeling
suck.
that our friend Vincent would have a problem with that.
Oh, I found
We
it.
don't have a Vincent.
He ran.
Yeah, he abandoned us. You're thinking of Alistair.
I mean,
Also,
LTR.
as a note, the reason the meteorite split, the reason the meteorite split is because the Aslanti goddess of the moon learned of the Aboleth plan, and she pulled the moon into the way. There used to be 2 moons on this planet. She pulled her moon into the meteorite's way, shattering it, preventing the entire destruction of the world. And instead, just the destruction of many civilizations.
How did that affect the ecosystem? What's different? What do I need to know about?
Humans are not as powerful as they used to be.
We're Superman, and that was
I wonder
the
if
moon.
we can
Oh,
find
the sun.
pieces
Oh.
of that moon.
And we just carry it around, use the
Well,
power.
they probably
That's
have a
awesome.
power of its
We
own.
have to look for that moon.
I bet that would make really cool armor.
what's your armor made of? The moon.
Moon armor. And also restores my power as an Atlantean, even though I'm not one. Oh, that'd be sick. I think I can find that. That's something like level 27 armor. I need that. There's no more questions I have. That's sick and nasty, by the way. 2 moons!
As a
Use
note,
one as a
the
shield.
difference between current human and Aslanti humans for statistic purposes is they're the same, except instead of a +2 to any skill or ability score, they get +2 to all.
Oh crap, that's busted. Never mind, I hate this idea.
So that's why I told you they're stronger, faster, hardier. They're better,
Let me tell you what happened. Those
and they
evil
still
guys-
get the bonus feat, bonus skills. They get all of the other really good human traits, but they just get +2 to everything.
So
Aslantes were busted.
Those evil guys were like, I cast magic missile, and our moon goddess was like, shield. and it blocked it, but it didn't quite work the way it worked perfectly for her, but for us, we were just like, oh crap, what's going on? That's what happened. It was just so strong on a catastrophic level. We can't comprehend it.
Is that goddess still around?
She's not worshipped anymore.
Is there a name?
Yeah. Acavana. Acavna.
If you
In
so
A?
if deities
Acavna.
so
She is a
this-
now long forgotten deity of the Aslanti people.
And that's in my book.
Yep.
That's so cool. Kind of sad, but cool. So is this a type of realm where if you stop worshiping a deity, they die off, or
You're not sure. I mean, she vanished shortly after Earthfall, or slightly
Oh.
before Earthfall.
okay?
Whether that is because she was a deity of the moon,
She sacrificed her.
she could have sacrificed herself. The title she was given is the Shield.
Oh, that's so cool. I know exactly what I'm gonna do for my another character. Oh, that's so sick. Oh wait, nobody worships it. Never mind. Okay, so by the way, are there 2 moon deities? Am I safe to assume the other moon is also under her jurisdiction, or is there a second moon god? And would I find that in this book if I wondered?
It probably wouldn't be in this book.
Okay, never mind.
You can go ask the librarian.
Oh yeah, this is a safe question to ask. I'll ask the librarian.
She has a list of all the deities.
That's so cool. It's like if there's 2 moons, then she's probably still okay. But if there's like 2 moon deities, then I'm gonna just assume she died.
There isn't a moon deity, but I mean, there kind of is. There is a lesser god known as Groatus. He looks like a moon with a skull for a face. He is overlooking all of Pharasma's boneyard.
Oh.
And he is called the god of the end of times because it is said when he rotates slowly around Pharasma's boneyard, ever getting closer and closer, it is said when he finally gets close enough, the universe will end.
I don't want to know about her anymore. Take it all back. I'm gonna forget I heard this information.
I wonder what type of magic we could find if we found their city, or what remains of the ruins.
The librarian tells you also that it's only believed to, it's supposedly timed to where the last mortal soul leaves the material plane, aka no more mortal life exists.
Yeah.
That he eradicates the material plane.
Ah.
So when the material plane no longer hosts life, he will destroy it.
Oh snap! There goes the plans for a robot future.
Yeah, he is like the way he / if he has any followers views it is he cleans up and packs up the dust for another reality to start.
Oh, that's so sick!
Yeah. Many people view him as like very, very scary because they think he's gonna end the world.
No,
he's waiting for the world to end, and then he will basically pack it up and start a new material
so
plane.
I thought he was evil when you described it.
He's chaotic neutral.
Yeah, he's actually super neutral.
He's chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
He sits on the plane that Pharasma says heaven, hell, you know, like
Yeah, he
good,
just
bad.
TikToks
Yeah.
around.
He just waits for there no longer to be any souls to
coming
come
on
through.
through. Okay.
And then he just goes, he sweeps up the material plane,
Did they like
shake, new material
do they
plane.
talk and stuff?
Nope.
Nope.
He just waits.
Wow.
That's terrifying.
Jesus, so scary. I don't want to. Even more reason not to die. I don't want to see him. Oh, I don't even want to see him.
No.
It's so spooky.
Not quite what I was envisioning.
Of course
but
he
yeah.
doesn't talk. I thought it was just the moon with a skull sitting on top of it.
No.
That's even worse. It's like that.
I was
Zelda
imagining
movie.
like a crescent body that's kind of just like a skeleton.
Nope, that guy just hovers throughout the air in Pharasma's boneyard.
So spooky, and it's a lie. It's a deity.
Yeah, it's a lesser deity because he doesn't play roles actively. He just waits for his time, and then he acts.
What happened when has this happened before? Are we in a reality?
We
that
don't
is
know.
Dear Lord, man. What if
You think we
Go
have
ask
information on that?
obviously not. Jeez, what if we're in a reality? Like we're so terrified.
We don't
by it.
know.
What if you were just like, whoosh, oh, it's the hearts of this one. They're doomed. Like what the crap? I'm so sorry.
I mean, the deities probably know, but
Yeah, right.
they probably would not tell
Jeez, man,
mortals
this is some like spooky.
because it would affect mortal life.
We're getting some happy stuff here, and some scary stuff, and some happy stuff, and some scary.
That is the world, yes. That is life.
You need to hit me with a double whammy of happy right now. This is too spooky.
I mean, you're living in the best timeline so far.
Oh, there's multiple
Or
timelines.
not timeline.
Oh.
Sorry, age period.
Oh,
Like
no.
Age of Darkness was fucking horrible. Monsters, more so than now, roamed the world. Not in caves, not in dungeons. The surface was there.
Okay, so can history be divided into these ages?
Ages, yeah.
Okay, and just like sort of like where I'm now, we're in the most peaceful age in our known existence.
Yep.
Damn, well, that's good news.
I mean, you can get a list of ages if you want,
No, I'll be okay.
just for the names.
That might be tempting. But another time.
Okay. I mean, it's in the book she has.
Just give me the evil sound.
Okay, there's two ways to calculate ages. The Absalom Reckoning ages, which
Okay.
is more accepted, and then the Imperial Calendar.
Oh,
The Imperial Calendar is very simple. It was the Age of Dragons, the Age of Ashes, the Age of Ascendancy, and the Age of Succession.
I'm guessing we're in the last.
Succession, yes.
Yeah.
The Age of Ashes is the Age of Darkness. The Age of Ascendancy marks when Eredin and the four others ascended and humanity was ascending from darkness.
Oh, okay.
And the Age of Succession is what we're living in now because we're succeeding those who came before us and ascended.
Okay.
And the Age of Dragons is when dragons rule the world.
Alright. Officially done.
The Absalom Reckoning, which is the more accepted by scholars, goes Age before ages,
I guess.
Age of Creation, Age of Serpents, Age of Legend, then Age of Darkness, Age of Anguish, Age of Destiny, Age of Enthronement, Age of Glory, Age of Lost Omens. And we have yet to name this age,
So they
because it is not completed.
So Age of Lost Omens is the previous age.
I believe so. Let me double check.
That's how previous ago was it?
Wait, no, it is the current age, and it started when Aroden threw the entire planet into decades of turmoil and confusion with his death.
Oh. That's okay, and we're just in that.
Yep.
Alright, that's actually crap. Okay, it's okay.
Aroden himself had prophesied thousands of years before that he would return on the cusp of mankind's greatest triumph and usher in the Age of Glory. He named it himself. His priests and followers calculated the supposed exact time of this event, kind of like how we do
Okay.
with like the Aztec calendar. We're all
Right.
in, and are prepared for it with lavish pomp. On the prophesied date of instead of his return, all contact with the god was lost, and the world was devastated by terrible storms, the opening of vast planar rifts, and decades-spanning political upheavals. Since then, no major prophecy has come true, a conditions for which the historians have named the current era the Age of Lost Omens, because we can no longer prophesize the future.
Wow. Okay, that's deep.
Yep.
So, well, are you telling me nobody in this world has the ability to see the future?
Pharasma does, but she doesn't tell anybody.
Well, okay. Which one's Horizon again?
Heaven, hell.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Alright. And obviously the moon guy to a certain extent.
He knows.
kinda just
He knows
monitors.
when mortal life will.
Oh, that's different.
Stop.
Okay.
He
That's
doesn't know
different.
anything.
Okay.
He doesn't know why, or anything like that.
So-
He just knows when his time to come
So, out
is.
of curiosity, if you
I mean, some people know like a few minutes into the future.
like
Like deities can peer a little bit into the future, but before you could peer thousands of years into the future and view that like reality,
Okay. Wow.
and it would come true. However, we no god has that power, other than Pharasma can see years into the future. And it is said that she already knows where you are going when you were born.
Oh, okay. Well then, predetermined, huh? So this world does not choose parallel timeline theory.
Believers of Pharasma don't believe in that.
Okay, got you.
Other followers of other deities believe what they want. Free will, what have you.
Okay. And my final question.
Believers of Sarenrae believe in this much more so because they believe in redemption and
Right.
like evil becoming good. Whereas Pharasma would view it as you are always going to become good.
Right, and by that logic, you were just, no matter what happened, this was your path.
Yep.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, and I do have one last question.
Mhm.
So, if you chose like an oracle as your class and choose that one specific oracle, which lets you like sacrifice your eyesight to have essentially a vision-based augury, and you become a level 20 oracle, which gives you a 0% failure chance.
You can see into the future a couple
30 minutes.
30 minutes, yeah.
Is that really impressive, or is that just a thing?
That's mortal limit.
Okay, so that's really impressive. Okay,
Yeah,
that's cool.
it's
Gotcha.
mortal's limit.
Yeah. That's
Pharasma is said to be able to see further. Other deities get vague impressions of the future, but that's about it.
okay.
They
Magic
used to
head
receive.
No, this
Yeah.
is dumb. This is dumb.
They used to receive vivid images of what would happen, and they could plan for it.
Okay.
Now it's just kind of like something bad will happen soon, kind of an impression.
Wow, that power was. So they had it, and it was lost to everyone but for us.
Pharasma doesn't have the ability to see any more so the future other than how you live your life. Good, bad.
Oh, because that's her job. Okay, she sees just enough for her job to function.
Yep.
Okay, I have
She
officially done
can't
my plans.
foresee like devastation
Okay.
or anything like that.
I'm gonna ask the librarian if there's any books or tomes on ancient civilizations on this continent that have been lost, or temples that have not been explored, that kind of a thing.
I believe I already pointed you to that book.
Oh, I already read that book.
I mean, it was the giant tome. You
Oh.
didn't read it all.
Do you know what?
That's our ancient history book. That's about it. Anything else would still be.
Oh, I thought that was
existing.
about the world. I'm talking about this continent.
I mean, this continent is somewhat insignificant in the scope of the world, but we are also part of the world.
Okay, so no like ancient ruins.
I mean, I'm sure there are some,
Okay.
but they've either been discovered and documented or are undiscovered.
Oh, okay. Any more questions, Pan?
live, we die, life moves on.
Oh, I think I'm getting this right, but I think it was the dwarves used to live only underground, and so did orcs, and they feuded, which is why dwarves get such a bonus against orcs and orc kind.
Yep.
However, the dwarven deity foresaw the Starstone being. She both foresaw Earthfall and told the dwarves to stay underground. There was always a prophecy from the beginning of dwarfhood that meteors would fall to the surface, and then light would once again return to the surface, and when that was to happen, there would be a sign and for them to start digging to the surface, to live amongst surface dwellers. Okay. But like the light is the Starstone being brought up by Aridin. They received that signal before Aridin lifted it, as was prophesized, and they did arrive relatively on schedule, but with them they brought orcs, which have terrorized and plagued the surface, which dwarves feel bad about, because orcs are evil, bloodthirsty brutes that kill, pillage, rape, etc., and they feel responsible for bringing those to the surface.
Are you telling me orcs were originally underground
Yes,
creatures?
just like dwarves. They used to feud with the dwarves.
Oh, snap. Well,
And Duragar are dwarves that still remain underground and have been corrupted because they did not follow their deity's instruction of go to the surface. So they never received the light's balance with the darkness, so they have become evil and twisted.
Okay. Is that why there's a specific orcs bane thing available for dwarves?
They hate orcs
Okay. Well then.
because they feel responsible for bringing them to all the other mortal races.
Okay. I didn't know this.
Because before it was just their issue, and now it's everyone's issue because of them.
Okay. Wow. It's neat. Bad. I that hit me with a double whammy of good. You're right, man.
Just hit me with a double whammy of good. I mean, half orcs aren't all evil. Is that good?
I mean, I know a half orc.
You're with one.
And the one's really good, one's just really dumb, but his heart's in the right place. So I could
A
assume
dwarf
that.
would hate them just the same.
Yeah. That's fine. Wait, I mean, we've met dwarves who didn't hate them
Outwardly.
after.
Outwardly.
Oh, okay. This is like ingrained in their culture. I see.
In their being.
I see. Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Oh well.
Which is also why dwarves generally reside in either, like, not surface level, but like close to surface level, like inside of a mountain kind of a thing. But it's still surface enough, and why they're so good with minerals. Because they lived and existed off of minerals for so long.
I'm gonna ask a really dumb question here.
Sure.
So, crap, how do I ask this without sounding like it's... I know that's the word to say in the real world, but if a half-orc baby, who and a dwarf baby were raised as brothers in a world outside of the realm of evil, would they instinctually not like each other? Or would they have to be taught as much?
It would be tough.
So are you asking, can they be raised to go against their nature?
I'm asking,
they
is it
can't.
their nature from birth?
Well, no, and
It's
you're,
a half-orc's nature to be
you're saying
incredibly
nature versus
aggressive
nurture.
and relatively evil.
Okay. and that's
so they can be
otherwise.
nurtured to
Whereas
go
a
against
new-
their nature.
Whereas dwarves are generally anywhere from the scope of neutral to good. So they generally just alignment-wise butt heads.
Well, I mean, that's a thing, I guess. So, so when a PC creates a half-orc, he's creating an abnormal half-orc.
Half-orcs are generally not raised with orcs. They are generally raised with humans, which
Because
are
of
not
the whole
evil.
rape thing.
Yes.
Okay, that's what it is.
They are generally raised with their human components, which are not generally evil.
Okay, so they
They
can
generally have like
suppress-
outlashes, and they're like the kid that acts out and is like a bully. But they're not they aren't raised in orc culture.
Okay.
They are raised to go against what their blood tells them to do.
I see. All right. That's so interesting.
I mean, that's why, unless you retrain it, the base orc has ferocity as a racial trait.
Oh,
They're naturally ferocious.
I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I wonder. I never looked at the orc page. I wonder if they have something that's called dwarves. They just like the opposite way around.
No, because they don't.
Wait, so
specific.
dwarves hate orcs, but orcs
Orcs
don't
hate
feel-
everything.
Right, they don't feel any specific animosity towards dwarves. Okay, that puts it way more into perspective. Got you. Everything is understood. Nathan is not done with questions. I will shut up because I'm making the session go like 3 hours with my questions.
That's fine.
That's fine.
It's fine. We're not doing.
We could do something if I stopped asking questions.
Like, another racial trait for half-orcs is they get a +2 to intimidate because of their naturally fearsome nature.
Ah.
They're just naturally mad, angry, ferocious, etc.
So is there even one not subclass, what do they call these?
A
One, like,
alternate
one
racial trait?
alternate racial trait where you basically are not aggressive. Is there even one?
Well, you can get rid of orc ferocity as
But-
well as intimidating.
But it's
With
always
it.
replaced with something.
No, not always. I think there's human raised or something.
Well, that's cool.
There's an alternate one called hatred.
I feel like that's just doubling.
A +1 racial bonus on attack rolls against humanoid of the dwarf, elf, and human subtypes.
Oh, so just everything.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. I see.
So human raised replaces orc ferocity, but not intimidating.
Makes sense. You're still scary.
They lack their cousin's ferocity and training in orc weaponry, but pick up a bit of their human parent skills. They get the skilled human racial trait, meaning they get 1 skill point per level extra.
That's so interesting. Okay, I'm sorry. This is so fascinating. I'm gonna
Yeah.
research this. Next downtime.
No,
I'm not
racial
changing
traits are
that.
supposed to be about what your character is, not min-maxing, getting more initiative.
Right. It's
Yeah.
that's so cool. So you can basically build your character with your
To represent how
you
you are.
were raised. That's
Yes.
so cool. I thought only traits did that, but that's
No.
so neat.
Racial traits are more about who you are, and traits are more about what you do.
Okay. Oh, that's so cool.
And feats are an extension of traits. Traits are just kind of like your baseline. I'm slightly better than the average guy at this, and then feats are like I worked hard to achieve this. It is a feat to achieve this.
Okay. Run. I can run a little bit faster than the average man. Feet.
It is a feat, and instead of whenever you would normally move it 2 times, you move it 3 times your speed. Anytime you move it 4 times, you move it 6 times. Usain Bolt has feet.
What do you do?
Has a run.
You see, I put my arms back like this, and it increases my speed exponentially. Wait, let me put on my headband.
Alright.
I'm gonna ask the librarian if there are any historical societies on this continent or this country.
I mean, she once again references the book you have. The entire, what is called the Blessed Expanse, which is the entire picture here, was not. There were people / civilizations here previous, but for the most part, they moved here because of not Earthfall, but partially Earthfall and partially because of warring kingdoms, etc., and the impending doom of said kingdoms. So the Blessed Expanse that you guys are in right now is pretty new in the scope of the world. The only exception to that is the Elven Land, which it is the original Elven Land. It is the very off-distant Elven Holy Land that the elves lived here before many civilizations did. There were some small barbaric civilizations here before and some smaller civilizations as well, but for the most part there was a large migration of people to the Blessed Expanse, and they slowly took over the elves' land and shoved them back, and elves said, alright, we've had fucking enough of this, and they took the last bit of their holy land and shoved it away from, which is why they're on an island. Like
More like Avatar.
Like all of this,
that's
like
so cool.
Ephraia, Belor, and Nefluana was all Elven Holy Land. before, and then humans like came in and slowly were like, we want more land, more land, more land. And when they got to like here-ish, elves were like, you know what, fuck it, they're gonna keep coming, and they just like literally like,
Wow, we're the bad guys of history.
yeah, humans are greedy son of bitches.
What the crap? I mean,
Yeah,
I am
fuck-
too.
I mean,
but,
So are orcs.
oh,
Fuck you
that's
guys.
different. We do it
You're
politically.
Yeah.
I didn't choose this.
Oh man.
Yeah.
We didn't need it.
I mean, I'm greedy too, but
I mean,
don't
humans
think I
have
kill
evolved.
people.
Humans are an evolving species.
Right.
As is many other species, but not as much so as humans.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought-
Which is why humans get a bonus feat, is because they're so adaptable and evolving.
Right.
And they don't get to like the whole +2 here, +2 here.
No,
minus-
because they're flexible.
Right.
They can do anything.
Choose.
Oh, that's.
I feel bad now. I'm not gonna apologize.
Yeah. Which is why these are the human countries. I mean, this one now has halflings in it because the humans basically had this, and they're like, you know what? Conquest time, and then most of them left and went here, and halflings are like, well, hey, this land's free. Humans come back, this is our land. Well, we can live together, and you can rule and stuff, just we want to chill with you
Oh,
guys.
they don't care. Oh, I
We
see.
just want to live with you guys. And humans were like, okay.
The American way. They were just like, sure. Sounds like a plan.
Hey.
You're not asking for any part of this our rulership. You just want to live in the area. Yeah, that's good. Maybe you can sell us stuff.
You want to be Puerto Rico?
Good half. I mean, don't be like Caleb's world, where every part of the world is a different, like, ye old, like. Oh yeah, they're all mobsters from the 1960s. Like, what the crap? That's oddly specific. But sure, yeah, sure. Go halflings.
But yeah. So, you guys have done a lot of research. It's been a number of hours here. It's getting late, but it's not dark yet. You've probably got another hour or so before sunset, and then another couple of hours before you need to head back to at least the other side of the gate where your inn is.
What is the classic cuisine of this land that you would recommend?
A lot of fish.
We've got some pretty good fish.
Yeah. There's availability of other things, but the close proximity to both, well, the river running through, it is forbidden to fish in the city. That is another law you picked up on.
Are there fish in that river?
Yes.
Oh.
You can fish outside of the city limits a few miles down. It's permitted. Not to extinction or whatever, just moderation, etc., etc. But there is a large water network that is at work in Belor. And so fish is a very integrated part of the cuisine here. They do have lots of forests, so they have deer, they have and they have farmland too. But the nature of the waterways is what basically gave life to Belor, in a sense. Most of their cities are based next to a waterway, and they very much so utilize the strong rivers and currents throughout the city throughout the city and throughout the country for transportation. To the east, the rivers flow towards the capital, and to the west, they flow away from the capital. So it's quite easy to get something from the east to the capital. However, getting it from the west is slower. But if you want to go to the west, it's much quicker. Because there's interconnecting waterways, and you guys purchase
Because the
east and
current
west
goes.
now. Yeah. So this is to the west. This is the capital, per se. Like, you can take this waterway, and then it splits here. It does come this way.
Are there boats?
Yeah, there are boats that you can take to destinations.
Is there like a personal boat license you can get to have your own boat?
You can buy a boat and then swim it.
Oh, I didn't know if there was like
in the city, you have to get a license
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
like a gondola guy.
Okay.
But outside, if you own a
Kinda like
boat,
a
pop it
taxi
in the
driver.
river and go.
Okay, so I know there's a spell, mount. If you had an altered version of it that was called boat. I'm sorry, I'm not creative. That basically just summons a ghostly boat. Would you be able to just like ride your ghost ship down the thing? And
Not in the city.
Okay, there we go.
Outside of the city, sure.
Alright.
And this is to the east. This over here is like the ocean, and you can see it like flows kind of naturally in here into lakes. And Matt knows that it
It's like that
rains
delta next to
decently often here because of the lakes and the way precipitation works, which is how the waterfall continues to run. And on days of rain, it never floods because it's been designed and tested never to flood the city, but the water will rise. Not to a dangerous degree, but it will rise. Yes, you have a silly idea.
I was looking at it too. I was like, oh, jeez.
So theoretically, so you could create a floating disc, 3 foot diameter, and then
Floating
just
disc cannot be used as a vehicle.
even on water.
Correct.
Okay.
Can you swim in it?
In what?
In the lake. In the river.
In the city?
Outside
No.
of the city.
Sure.
It's okay. So they don't regulate the lake outside, the river outside the city.
Above the city.
Right.
Because that
flowing in.
that flows right next to the emperor's house.
Yeah.
There is like a there's like not a gate, but like there's like not a dam, but like it's kind of like a gate. It's like a gated thing that goes down. It doesn't impede water, but it's too small for a person to fit through. And they have guards up there, so you can't just like swim over to the emperor's and be like, "What up, Mr. Emperor?"
Yeah, you'll just drown instead.
Okay, so out of curiosity, further down this river, are there other cities that also use more part of this river
Yeah.
to survive?
On your maps, you see most cities are located close to rivers.
Okay, but the city just doesn't care what you do outside of its walls because they only
Right.
care about their part of the river.
They want to keep it clean in the river, and they
But
don't
only
want
for
any
that.
incident.
Wow, they should just break the law for the country for the whole river. That's
Well, I mean,
silly.
it is illegal to pollute the river.
Okay, no matter
But-
where you are.
Right.
Okay.
But, like, swimming in the river is like, yeah, sure,
It's just
dude.
okay. Cool.
You want to own a boat, you want to ride the river, go for it outside the city.
Okay.
But you can't, like, block up the river or, like, throw
At any
poison
point.
in it. Yeah.
Are there any? Are all?
I mean, that's a law in most countries.
Oh, yeah.
Don't pollute the water system.
Are all the fish safe to consume?
Yeah.
Or like any natural ecosystem, there are some fish which are
Well,
just.
I mean,
Detect poison?
Oh, I don't. Does that work on natural poison in a creature?
no.
Okay.
It detect poison detects if a creature is poisoned. And I think
poison,
maybe food that is poisoned. I'm
yeah.
not sure.
Like
But it doesn't detect like a scorpion that
a
has
puffer
poison.
fish wouldn't ping.
There are, but they aren't served here. And for the most part, in this point of the river.
No, it says or poisonous.
Oh, sure.
Poisoned or
Oh,
poisonous.
okay.
Creature, object, or area.
I was about to
Sure.
go fishing, so I wanted to know.
I mean, at this part of the river, it's not as common because of the waterfall. Not too many fish, basic fish can survive, like going over a waterfall and stuff, but like poisonous fish generally not so much.
Does this world have salmon-esque creatures who
Yeah.
climb waterfall?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean-
sweet. Is there like a event for it, like when the season comes?
Yeah, but most of the waterfalls are contained behind the Emperor's like wall.
Oh, he gets
But-
to see it all for himself.
Well, he gets to see it, but you can see up over the wall, but you can't get up close. And there is a section of the waterfall, probably 100 feet wide, that isn't behind the wall. So if there probably is an event, and Pan knows there is an event, and it is really beautiful because the water here is actually like it's spring water. It's coming off of the mountain. It's perfectly clean.
Okay,
Generally regarded as safe to consume, just as is.
got you.
Which is why they don't let unlicensed people in the water, because if you look down, you can actually just see through the entirety of the water. And you see fish swimming down, and it's another reason people take the gondolas, because it's very beautiful. So they're preserving it.
Right, see.
And the gondolas make mad money because they don't charge much, so everybody can do it. And the service is like just constantly sending more boats, more boats.
More. We need
We need more boats.
more. Is there one gondola system that has a monarchy over all the gondolas, or are there competing gondola services?
Competing gondola services, but all under one like guild almost.
Okay, got you. So there's no like overcharge.
It's more
for
like
X.
individuals are like, hey, take my boat. I know how to
Oh, it's
sing. Take my
taxis.
boat. Yeah, it's taxis.
Oh, all regulated by one
Yeah,
overarching. Okay,
it's taxis.
got you.
It's like they're selling themselves
Okay.
rather than like my service, because the service is pretty generic.
Is there a gondola size limit? Can I have like a gondola limo with like 6 seats?
They have various sizes of them. They increase in price for increase in space,
Right.
but they do have some that are larger, generally designed to carry like heavy equipment
Okay.
or shipments of things. But you can just load it up with people and have a party for the few minutes
I
that you're
got
on
you.
the river. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cool. It's cool. It's a big enough river to fit multiple.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not like hundreds, and they don't want to congest it because that ruins the experience.
So is there sort of like a traffic?
Yeah, there's kind of like a queue that you go in every few seconds.
Okay, it's not like automated though. The gondola drivers just sort of know.
Yeah, they just kind of like, all right, he's far enough. Everybody get in.
Okay, all
there
right,
we
got
go.
you. I'm just
And
wondering.
it's like more respect because you already got like customers,
Yeah.
and you don't want to ruin the experience for them.
Right, if everyone treats everybody good, then the whole system flourishes.
Yep.
So at least one part of the city works really nicely. Ooh, nice. Gonna go investigate a gondola guy.
Gondola guy. Bring hype man. Put him in a gondola.
My gimmick is I'm also an assassin. You hop on my gondola, alright, who do you want to kill? Excuse me? Oh, you're on the wrong gondola. I'm so sorry.
You've already paid. I only paid 3 silver. Yep,
I'm
that's
a
my
cheap
price.
guy. Alright, who is it? I work officially.
I need to know. If they get off at the last stop, you pull your boat up, here you go, be right back. Shing! I'm like, is he serious? You didn't know? Who'd you just kill then? I just was talking to my son about my husband. Uh-oh.
Oh, Jesus. Well, okay. Who do you want to kill? The Emperor. Get out of my gondola. Who do you think I am? I'm just a simple, humble gondola driver. I don't know what you're talking about.
At that point, it'd be like, oh, I see.
You're my target.
You're my
The
type.
Emperor pays me 3 silver pieces to kill everyone who says the Emperor. This is my secret.
business. You just get to the end. Oh, another one, huh? Yep.
Oh, it's so
They
funny.
just take the body, throw it through the gate so it's not in the city's river. It's
I
just
should-
out there.
This is a great idea. I just thought about this. This is wonderful. I'll remember this for later. Continue.
Just take down a little note in your phone. Hold up.
Consider gondolas.
Consider gondolas. So, what do you guys want to do?
Should we head back to the
You
end?
know, let's not get trapped on this side of the.
I mean, you
We-
still have like 3 hours before
We
that
could go
happens.
drinking.
We could.
Maybe talk to some of the locals. See what's up with recent events.
See if you can find
Are
out more
there
about
even events here?
the Arcane Society.
Oh, I almost forgot. Apparently the lady, the immeasurable, or impenetrable,
Imminent.
The imminent.
the imminent woman.
Spell Queen.
The imminent spell queen, yes, I wrote it down. Thank you for saving me time. The imminent spell queen is apparently a really nice lady. Like she's charitable.
I'm glad your book said that.
Well, I'm just saying the book said a lot of nice things about a lot of people, so I'm not saying the book is right. But one, a book hasn't enlightened yet, except that Demon Guard book. They were not demons. That
Does
book was
this
incorrect.
name ring a bell
What?
or anything?
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you your magic too.
Your magic too, Harry.
16? I'm assuming it's an int check.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, mages. Good job.
Well, actually, it's a knowledge local, but if you
Oh.
don't. Yeah.
So that's a 7.
Oh no, I got worse.
I mean, knowing about your local area is knowledge
You can
local.
use int instead.
No,
What about nobility?
she's not nobility. Learning more about the emperor or his advisors would be knowledge nobility. You've heard the name before. You just kind of, because she was around when you were here.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of like you knew she was stronger than you because of the rumors about her and her being top 2 mage in the land. So it was just kind of like, if you ever get in a fight with her, probably run.
Is running even a viable option?
Probably not.
I mean, the rumors about her, like, she probably wouldn't have killed you. She probably would have just, if you were super evil, probably just, like, you know, stunned you, paralyzed you, etc., and then undo it once you were in
So
jail.
if you're in a fight with her, you probably deserve.
Yeah, you need
whatever's
to-
coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was her and a guy named the Grand Caller, and you're not sure who he is. But they were the top 2 mages that you knew, like, you don't fuck with those guys. They were like one of them and like the Emperor himself, and like those close to the Emperor. Like you don't fuck with those guys. The other people is kind of like you feel them out yourself. But those 3 were like the big shots that are just like everybody knows they're out of your league. And I mean, like, you probably knew some other, like, underground, like, organizations that were just, like, bigger than the Darkwings that you're probably like, let's not start a turf war with them kind of a deal. But, like, those 3 were the names of, like, the good, like, above ground.
Okay.
Kind of. If we're doing, like, underground, above ground kind of a deal. Those were, like, the good guys that you don't mess with. And, like, of course, like, an extension of the Emperor, any of his, like, friends, family, like those close to him, like just don't incur the Emperor's wrath, basically, because he will, if he actually does get upset, he will make some stupid ass law or ruling to send the entire army after you, because that's kind of who he is.
Okay.
But
Nice.
basically, his view is that of his city and what his advisors tell him, which is why it's kind of like you didn't really operate in this city that much.
Yeah.
Because it's way too dangerous and not profitable enough to.
This is
So let me ask you this question: what city did I mostly?
Mostly, I mean, it was basically outside of this city is kind of like free game.
Okay, so it wasn't mostly city stuff. Okay.
You were mostly like transporting goods, making sure things were good, you know, taking care of anybody who was interfering with said duty to transport things. Like if there were thieves along the way that kept harassing you guys, you'd go deal with them.
Okay.
That kind of a deal. This city is one of the few cities, if not the only city, that actually follows most to all of the laws.
Because they have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of this city, it's kind of like the police force even realize it's a joke law, but like, hey, we can report you to the Emperor, haha, and then you throw them a couple of gold and they shut the hell up. So it's corrupt, but it's like if you murder someone, they're still gonna, you know, come after you. But if it's like, oh, you're smuggling alcohol, we'll tell the Emperor, and you pass them like a bottle of Jack, I didn't see anything.
So they're soft corrupt, not hard corrupt.
Yeah.
It's because the bans are relatively recent. They're within the last decade.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it's kind of like, what is it?
Prohibition?
Prohibition. It's like, yeah, people made like alcohol, but like people didn't hate them for it.
I swear tomorrow one guard's gonna walk up to me and be like, are those magic items registered? I'm gonna be like, you piece of
No,
garbage.
it's only magic weapons,
Oh,
which you guys never registered.
exactly. Which is the thing. Bag of holding.
But yeah, like you came to this city because like it's a centralized-ish area, but for the most part, you guys didn't try to like smuggle in and out of here, so that's generally not worth it. If somebody in this city wanted something, they would meet you outside of the city to do so. But this city does have a large hub of magic items and potion scrolls, so you would come and interact as a normal person, not as a criminal.
Are you telling me the king, if I went literally right outside the gate and said, here's the booze.
No, not right outside the gate, but like a few miles outside
Gotcha.
in like a forest or something, and you did pass off. That kind of a deal.
I'm just wondering if that's literally how much they didn't care, because that would be
No.
a whole other level.
No.
Okay, cool.
I mean, the general sense that you got when you lived here, and it still seems to be the case, is that this city adheres to his ridiculous and silly rules, but everybody thinks it's stupid. And everyone outside of the city says, fuck that, except for the guard, like the city guard who live in other cities. Basically, they can... Your business was very profitable because people in general accepted you and the Darkwings and similar criminals for making like tobacco and alcohol, like hard liquors, which are illegal. They just, that wasn't part of their life for like 30 years if they were 40 years old, and now it's not. They're just like, yeah, you're businessmen. I mean, we don't tell, you know, the Emperor on you, you deal business here. That kind of thing. Like the guards would either turn a blind eye, or if they were a little bit more corrupt, they'd harass you a little bit for some coin or some booze or something.
Gotcha.
What's the corrupt to not corrupt ratio? Or is that something I have to discover on my own?
You wouldn't know. Pan would know.
Okay.
What would be the ratio?
Corrupt in the sense that they saw an opportunity to get free booze or free coin out of their shittily paying job. Most. Corrupt to the point where it's like, hey, we're, human trafficking. No, not very much. I mean, there are some people who would, for the right coin, like, let that go, but for the most part, it's just like, I'm 35. For 25 years, I was able to drink alcohol. Now I can't. Fuck this guy.
So does this
Like,
mean-
for thousands of years, our country has not had that law, and then all of a sudden we have that law. Fuck that guy. Everywhere else you can drink. Give me a drink. Like, basically, the populace has lost faith in the emperor.
Looks like they need a new emperor. You're right. We have to do a coup. I agree now.
But I mean, that's been like up until about 10 years ago when he made those drastic changes, and that's also when the magic weapon and armor changes went through. He claimed to have had a vision of a cleaner and better future, and so he implemented many laws to enforce that. And only really the city he lives in and tours around to see it in effect adheres to that. Everywhere else is kind of like, yeah, we'll tell them we are, but fuck that. And the change caused a lot of rife with the populace because magic arms and armor dealers just, nope, you can't do that anymore. And they were out of,
Did they
a
move?
job. Some of them moved, some of them,
Got permits.
well, it's not really permits, it's, they just switched to making masterwork armor, or arms, which is a lot less profitable. But I mean, when people don't spend $2,000 on a +1 short sword, they buy like 2 masterwork short swords, a masterwork warhammer. Like, they diversify a little more, so it wasn't that hard on the armor guy or on the arms guys. But the armor guys took a really big hit, and a lot of them either moved or just went bankrupt because that's all they and their family line had done for hundreds of years and couldn't do it anymore. There are still, I think it's 3 or 4 armorers in the capital. They all receive various magic armor requests from time to time from the emperor, from authorized people, but for the most part, they just make masterwork, which is not that profitable, but the emperor or an advisor noticed that they were going to have no way of producing arms or armors, so the 3 weaponsmith and 4 armorers that are in the entire city, not just like traveling through, get stipends from the emperor to stay profitable and be able to live.
That's not bad. That was really nice.
Dozens of people lost their jobs because of it, though. So 7 people versus like 24 or 25. It was only at the last 7 that they're like, oh hey, we might need these to outfit our city guard. Let's make sure they stay around.
Maybe
So-
it wasn't as nice as I thought. I
Yeah.
did that.
But yeah.
Still technically fresh.
How long does a coup take?
He's actually thinking about it.
You don't think it'll take that long, actually?
Well, mine.
Mobilize the underground.
At least to enact the plan, it took about 24 hours.
Oh, sweet.
To come up with the plan and get in the position that we needed to, a good 5 years.
Oh, I thought you were about to say days. I was going to be like, yeah, we have a week. Oh, years. I'm not about to say for 5 years. No, thank you. But maybe we can
You
inspire
could just
one.
take over this.
Oh yeah, we could
I
just kill all.
Bro, just need the shit out. We're gonna nip this idea in the butt right now.
Well, right now, so fast, 2 seconds ago, you were like, yeah, let's do it, and now you're realizing, oh
I
shit,
don't
we
want to
can't do
kill
it.
my crew. I just want to sort of push them out of the power. You know, and not violent.
That doesn't.
We call it peaceful protest.
Yeah, I call that an execution.
No.
Called treason.
Give me that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's treason. I don't think there's town.
Yeah, but don't you want to do good?
It depends. I do selective good. I am not Cerebr's champion. I'm Cerebr's champion in the making.
In the making isn't exactly what I would describe you as. In the beginning of the making.
Yeah, that's good. Don't give me too much credit. I like it.
You're welcome.
So would you rather free the people
That sounds good.
or keep the crazy guy in power?
I'd rather just ride a gondola, but if we're gonna be specific, if we're gonna be really specific, I think we need to change his advisors. I feel like they're the bad guys. Why do I feel like this guy's what do we call those things? A political
Puppet?
fake. Yes. I mean, a vision, real talk. We just learned that those don't happen anymore. I mean, not thousands of years in the future. I guess you could see a little bit, whatever. The point is that's.
I mean, you know that the Emperor is royal lineage.
Yeah, he's royal.
It's not that he's like great for the job. It's just he's firstborn son.
That doesn't mean jack.
Is there a
I'm the most
son?
least qualified
Not
person
sure.
to rule in the universe.
Yeah, but you're more qualified than him.
No, I still, I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I don't think I.
Okay, no. You're smart enough to not, make stupid laws off of stupid things.
Also questionable, but fine, I agree with you.
Okay, I'm trying to give you credit here. You just okay. Alright, fine. He's better than you. How about that?
The point is that how about we just do our business in this town and walk away?
You know, if we stay here long enough, soon it might follow us,
Not
and maybe
even
he'll
just
destroy
allow,
the Emperor's
you know,
palace for us.
Yeah, but I'd rather not destroy this town.
I mean,
Not
if we're
that kind of
if we're
business.
staying slightly closer to the Emperor, he'll
Is there a
probably
church
get
ceremony in this
later.
town?
I don't think he's after us.
You know
he's
what? I don't know
more
why
planning
this
than
is
after
What
us.
was that big church?
One sec.
We're after him.
And actually,
Not
I
the
don't
other
think
way
it
around.
matters specifically. I
both.
learned this last time.
One second. Where are you guys having this conversation, by the way?
I thought we were still in the back corner of the library.
Oh no, I thought we had left.
Well, we can't just walk around town talking about this. I don't say jack if we're not in the library.
That's why I'm asking where you guys
Yeah.
are when you're having this conversation.
Oh yeah, no.
If we find a room, we will move this conversation
Yeah.
to that room. I am not talking
You guys
about
are thinking about going to a tavern, a bar. Where are you going to have this conversation?
I don't know. Where's the next tavern I see? With a room. Where is it? I don't care how much they cost, although I think it's gonna be pricey because
What
this
do you
town
mean?
sucks dick.
I mean, you guys already have.
We
a
already
room.
have rooms.
Oh, okay. Then we
You
go
were
in.
looking for food or drink.
Well, I'm not about to do some
I don't
restaurant
eat.
either.
Okay.
Oh
Some
yeah.
of you
Come on, Ben. Let's go get lunch.
Okay.
okay.
That would hit most people.
I'm not.
That would not hit most people.
Oh, I'll just magic earring it to him. Fine. I forgot that was an option.
You still have to whisper it.
Yeah,
Not happening. Absolutely not happening.
I wonder.
They're enemies of the crown. Ah, crap. We're dead. I thought we were in the library. That's why I was just like, I just want to. I know.
Where are you having this conversation? I'm
Jeez,
asking.
I'm actually.
I got a gondola.
Oh, it's perfect. And then,
And
and then like, I chose
the guy?
I wanted that job.
I mostly thought we were joking, not actually talking in character.
No, I was
but-
okay. No, I was. Me and I wanted to seriously have this kind of idea of a cooler talking pan.
I was
Who is the
talking-
cool master? If anyone would know how to do a coup, it's a pan archway. So I had to figure it out.
I mean, he's kind of done one before.
I have.
Right? That's one more
Had a
than I've
plan?
done.
Well, according to this note, apparently not very well.
Oh, you didn't win?
I thought I did.
Oh, okay.
And then, the devilage, and then friends died.
Oh yeah. Maybe we should ask them about that. See if that guy figured out that we did it or not.
I thought we were going to try and contact the Arcane Society.
I guess we could.
We could try to join.
We could try to join.
We're all arcane users.
Yeah!
Everyone except Verloc.
I'll warn you now, I still won't know what I'm talking about, but I'm in. Infiltration is more of my alley.
Where
Okay.
Originally, I thought that was
So-
what we were going to do in the city.
Eat, room, sleep, have discussion, and then go to bed.
Well, no, you asked what churches there were. It's
Oh.
Abadar, Gosra, and Shilin.
Ooh, I don't know any of these people. What's
You
the big
know
one?
what Abadar is.
Oh,
God of Merchants.
Oh, that makes plenty of sense.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You remember that from Vatan, the merchant city.
So what's the big one?
Shilin would probably be the biggest one.
The one that we were next to earlier that I pointed out on your
The
picture.
big pointy tower.
Oh, that one
You
is.
said that was a church, right?
Yeah. That one's Abadar.
And that's the merchant one.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
The
sense.
people who have the money.
Are you?
Abadar
Oh
is
my
the.
God, it's Alex.
So if divine question,
Sure.
does it matter what church I decide to pray at? For
I
praying
hope it's
ceremony?
Alex.
I know
It
that's a
is.
dumb question to ask because
I
it
mean,
depends on
you
me.
don't even have to go to a church to do that.
Hey, you want to infiltrate the Arcane Society with us? Or do you want to help plan the coup for the Emperor?
Take it over this time.
You're 3 hours late. This is what happens.
Also, this conversation happened within the last 20 minutes.
I'm still trying to figure out where they had the coup conversation in game.
Chelsea, Eleanor, the hole. Or wait, not
The road!
the rope, not the hole. That's you.
Alright, so.
What are my options?
Okay, so
Coup against the Emperor.
there's a stupid.
It's a lot of debts. Okay.
Or
Not really, we've got a
infiltrate
couple
the
of
Arcane
advisors.
Society and leave this country how it is.
What do we know about the Arcane Society?
Not
They
much.
may have taken my dad.
Probably worse than the Emperor.
And they didn't want us to do the demi-lich.
Be back.
Other than that, generically, they're kind of like Robin Hood for magic users.
I mean, it sounds like we go after the Arcane Society.
So the coup it is.
Ta-da, it's the same thing. Ta-da!
I have also
Oh.
initiated the process of joining the Merchants Guild, and I've started looking for new property locations.
Oh, of course. That doesn't surprise
And
me.
we went to the library and learned a lot about the history of the world.
Alright.
We are now, we have a field trip planned in the
Oh,
future
God.
to the deepest ravine in the world that used to be an ancient civilization
They
that
want to
pissed
go
off
where
some
the
ancient
Starstone
people.
was. I told them about
Are you
Earthfall
gonna
and
fucking take the
Starstone.
test? Oh my fucking
No,
god.
Nathan
that's
thought
in
about it,
Freya.
but I told them about
No,
it.
the Starstone is in a Freya. We want to go where the civilization was. So we want to go where it was found. There's a difference.
That's way too much. Okay.
Eh, well, you missed like the whole entire explanation of all of the gods, pretty much,
One
and the
minute.
creation.
The Age
Well,
of Darkness.
I mean-
Bethel, all that stuff.
I'm pretty sure I could just roll a religion check and know it all anyways.
Yeah, bro.
A lot of it is lost knowledge. Well, not lost knowledge, but
Yeah.
knowledge you don't know.
Oh.
But it's
Well,
recorded,
good.
so you can
Yeah,
always go
it's
back
recorded.
and listen to it.
Yay! Good. I probably will be. Okay. So where are we right now?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
Somewhere in the city.
They're somewhere in the city talking about a
Okay.
coup, and I need to know where.
I'm going. Just go to an alley and throw the rope trick. No, forget it. Let's go to the inn.
Okay.
We'll get the meal there,
Sure.
and then once we eat the meal, we'll go to the room, throw down the rope, and then we'll have this conversation.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Sounds good.
I thought we were in the library.
I was joking with him because I didn't think we were actually talking about it in character, but apparently we were.
This king is tough, and I need to talk about it.
Oh yeah, and the emperor makes all his decisions based off of visions and his advisors.
I'm gonna like walk in.
Why are we?
You
so-
have to register your magical
Everyone-
arms and
5-year-old in the
armor,
crowd.
or risk paying a $500 or 500 gold
fee.
fee and getting them confiscated. And you cannot
No
purchase or sell any magical arms or armor.
What time is
You
it?
can put
In the
magic
city.
items in bags of gold, right?
What?
You can put magic items in bags of gold.
Yeah, but you can't put armor in that shit.
Verloc would
Depends on
run
the
that. Can
I know
pay
you
the
are.
500
These two
gold?
are.
Can I pay your 500 gold to a
Mine just
bonus?
looked like
Verloc would have
a-
done
Well, it does. I don't think it costs
It
500
doesn't cost
to
500
register.
to register it.
it. Oh.
You guys
Okay.
just haven't fucking registered it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I figured we'd do that in the morning.
It's a $500
Is there
fine
a-
if you
Okay.
get caught with
Fair.
non-registered.
What? I'm
Okay.
played. I'm a duped.
Damn it!
You've
been speckled or-
Has been wearing his armor the whole time. He's not wearing a suit at all.
Same.
I thought for some reason he like evolved past it.
I have a
I thought
the
he
Yeah,
had like
that's how
a
it
fancy
is.
suit and a cane. I was like, what the fuck?
The armor is now me. I am the armor.
Okay.
It's my symbiote suit.
So,
Kai'Sa?
well, you know, I guess I have to ask this out of character. Why were we throwing a coup?
Okay, so
What is with
No one is knowing.
I've only
The
asked.
Emperor
Why did
sucks.
it take
because
us
the
this
Emperor
long to
is
think of
stupid.
this?
Okay, the Emperor is okay. Out of
He's a
character.
puppet.
Yeah, we think the Emperor is a puppet and he's stupid
For the
and
Arcane
he.
Society.
And it'd be
makes
much
all
better
his
if we
stuff-
ruled the country.
Yeah.
They're neutral.
Yo, I just
I
thought
am
of
more
a great
about the
plan.
freedom
Okay,
of
guys,
people.
guys.
It seems to be repressing
Hands
the
are
people, so
twice.
we need to replace
Coup
it.
number 2. Here we go. Electric
Alright, so
coup
I
balloon.
have experience with coups, okay?
Yes,
Yeah, I have
this is coup
experience
number
with
2.
coups.
Coup balloon.
Yeah.
Electric
So-
coup balloon.
So we come in to the Emperor and be like, "Yo, dude, we just took down this powerful demi-lich in the south for you guys," and then we just like get really buddy with him, and then we kill them all.
Why do I?
No!
This emperor just doesn't happen to be like a 5-year-old in a crown, right? Like he's not just like too
No,
young
this
to
is
be in
not a
crown,
combat
right?
kill.
Okay, he's an actual like.
I mean, he made a ruling 10 years ago.
Oh,
How many
He was an emperor when he made
that,
it.
man. He's
He's probably at
13.
least 15.
He's 13. No.
How many kings?
I
How many
can't
advisors are there to the king?
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Just enough to be
For
correct.
some
So
reason,
it's
I
There
heard
are 3
7, but-
authorized magic users that assist the king.
Oh wait, those are no guys. We
But
can't
they
do
may
that.
also be his advisors. We're not 100%.
because these are the 2 people that you don't mess with.
Oh, it's them! This coup is canceled.
You're not sure.
Wait, the 2 people we don't mess with. What?
Yeah.
You're not sure about
The
that.
Eminent Spell Queen and the Grand Caller.
The coup is canceled. The coup is
What did they do?
Go home, everybody.
All I know is that they were good, the good guys that we never messed with.
Hmm?
I don't know. He would know more. He did more research.
Those are within the Arcane Society.
Who or who?
The Eminent Spell Queen.
The Eminent Spell
Man,
Queen.
you're divine. What do you care?
No, it's hard. I need to know. This is a hard.
Sahar actually knows the difference between the divine and arcana.
It's been beaten into my head. Okay, so she's this Robin Hood-esque. Oh wait, I should be politically correct here. She is described as this Robin Hood-esque leader of the Arcane Society. She like takes from the. She gives magic to
People who need it.
Yeah, she gives magical assistance. No wait.
She doesn't take from the rich, she just gives to the poor.
She's charitable.
There you go, that's the word you read.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's like, and this is her Arcane Society, you know, like, she created it, and she like, researches magic, and if you're arcane, you're free to, you know, hop on in, and they'll help you in junk, and apparently it sounds like a great place to be. Sounds like a great place to be. We haven't actually been there.
Alright.
We're thinking of joining.
I'm not seeing the problem with the Arcane Society.
They probably won't let you in, it's a prestigious club.
They probably won't. You're correct.
I just imagine the asterisk. They probably won't let you in.
Non-arcanes do not apply.
Other than,
Non-arcanes need not apply.
maybe having your dad. Is there any other bad thing about this society?
They wouldn't let us fight the demi-lich.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
we did, and we killed it.
okay,
Yeah,
so
friends are
technically we
buried.
broke the law, but
We didn't break any law.
technically we
That might be
are
a strong word
we are
for
in the
it.
wrong. Technically,
No, we went around.
morally, we did the right thing. We took care of like a big problem.
For the first time in my life, yes, I did
Yeah,
morally do
But,
the right
but
thing.
on the
I think you do the
technically
moral
on
right
law
thing for the
side,
wrong
we
reasons
kind
all
of,
the time.
you know,
I
just
don't know if
Ours
it was
in
per
the
se
cell,
against
yeah.
the law. It was more a rule for our own safety.
well, true, good point.
So we may have disobeyed the request,
Look,
but I don't think it was a
Verloc, you don't
law.
seem to get this, right?
Mhm.
We are the legends. Eventually. It's been prophesized. Whatever choice you make is the right one.
I told them about Pharasma.
You don't gotta worry about it. All of it is sea. We will be. You don't seem to understand. Trust me. I'm an expert. We are destined to be great. And because of this, we simply have to go with what we think is right. And it will be so.
Boy,
You can't argue with the books. This happens. There's proof. There's a magical star gem that proves this happened.
that's not how Pharasma works.
I don't know how Pharasma works at all. I hope I never find out.
I have.
90 years later. Oh snap! Oh, you met her. Was she cool?
No! Actually,
Did you see the moon skull?
I wasn't sure what I was going to tell you about this, but
Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
Yes.
I want to know.
No, wait. I'm gonna read
I have
through.
seen the bone
I don't know
guard. I
that.
have seen Pharasma.
Give me
She
the one I
doesn't care. It's just, she judges you and you're gone.
Yeah, she's
I got lucky that I got to talk to Opsu when I was there.
Oh, that's so cool.
But,
Is he cool? Is he cool?
yeah.
He's cool.
But
Strong
she
belief.
doesn't care.
Oh, bro, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I forgot again. Is he a bird or a dragon?
Dragon.
Okay, thank you. I keep forgetting this.
He's both. He's a bird dragon.
It's a bird.
Bird-dragon.
It's a plane. It's a
He's
bird.
a bird-dragon.
Every time I think Absu, Azir comes into my head, and I'm like, is that what he looks like?
No. He's not Swablu's evolve. He's more like Lugia.
Oh, okay, now Altera. Got it.
No.
More like Salamence meets Lugia, is how I picture him.
So he's a helicopter. Or a UAV, that's what it is.
See, this is
Rick
why I didn't bring
Boswell?
some. Yeah, kinda. Except that's more of a serpent dragon because he doesn't have like a feather body part.
Not a UAV.
Okay, this is cool. This is cool. I like
Okay.
this. Did you see the skull moon or not? I need to know where in the rotation it is. This is very important because if it's like on the right,
I
don't.
did.
Okay, wait, you didn't?
I did.
Over there. Look in the middle.
You look up and you see it. It was
I
kind of hard to look up.
I need to know.
It was in the sky.
I mean, that's not specific.
Well, sky.
So if it was above you, oh, that means either we're about to mess up or we're in the beginning. Oh,
It was right above me, right?
Yeah, it was in the sky. You didn't pay that much
Yeah.
attention to it.
no. Yo, what if we mess up, Zuno kills everybody, and that's it, that's the time. What if we actually goof? Maybe this isn't the correct here to think.
DM rolls.
Wait, that's not a percentile dice. All important decisions are percentile dice.
I need to speak with someone, right?
Please. Technically, they're all percentile die.
Oh, that's only a 13.
Oh no.
Is there any way
90.
to create a death state where I can also go through the passing and speak to the lady and talk to Sarah Drake? But
Yeah,
then
you
come
want to
back?
find out?
No, I don't.
Technically, we could, but it would break your roll.
I think I'll just ask Sarah Ray by finding somebody else. Oh, wait, I know somebody who can speak to Sarah Ray. Wait, it's not Sarah Ray, it's Sarah Ray's champion. Sarah Ray's champion can speak to Sarah Ray. All I have to do is find Kyra again. And then she summons the champion, and I ask the champion.
Thing.
It's-
Why would Sarah right now?
Sarah Ray knows everything.
No, she
She's
doesn't.
Sarah Ray. All the
Sarah-
answers.
No god knows everything.
I
The god who will know anything is Nephews.
No, Zal knows everything. He was first. He was number one.
Is this what we've devolved to? SpongeBob
All you
memes?
gotta do is ask.
Oh, what the hell?
All you gotta do is ask Zal. I mean, he's a little busy holding the gates, I guess, and being the best. Finger guns to the sky. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Man, it almost hurts me how insignificant we are to the grand scheme of these things. We're getting a little better day by day, and then every day I realize we're just really insignificant. Did you know that there was a race of humans who are better than humans in every single way, that were just super more technologically advanced than us in every single way, and now they're extinct? What am I, a pale secondary attempt at the world?
Yes.
This sucks! This is the worst!
I did not know that.
Atlantoons? I don't remember what they're called.
Atlanteans?
But one of them was
Aslanteans.
No.
one that was super busted. Oh man, he was the best. Stories were told of him. He like found a rock, and if you pass the trial of the rock, you
You're
become a
talking
god.
about the test of the Starstone.
Yes, that thing. Oh man, I'm totally not gonna do that. But if I could watch somebody do it, that would be great. You think they televised that?
What's televised?
Oh, whoops. Do you think they broadcast or?
I mean, broadcasting is
Well,
weird.
I don't know, Nick.
Broadcast? That'd be cool.
The
Another poor fool. is thinking
our
about
one shot, of my character's whole creating pay-per-view porn, has that spread around at all in other
yeah.
ways?
that. Isn't that in the future? I thought the one shot was like half a year or so in the future.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like 6 months in the future. But
Oh. Never
that was
mind.
based on scrying, and the only constant known that they figured out about the trial is that magic doesn't work great there, and extra dimensional travel is absolutely never going to be allowed.
Yeah.
Like every challenge, things change, but those two things remain constant. So whether or not a scrying spell would be able to remain intact is iffy.
What if there's just like
I'm
a
trying to
city
get new
inside the maze called the City of Failures, where all the people who are too scared to go deeper in but can't go back just live? Oh, that'd be like super cool.
And it's like, hey, we can't go any further than this, but I don't want to die, so I guess we're here.
Sounds like a movie.
That'd be so cool. The city
Maze Runner.
really works.
Maze Runner.
And you have to think about yourself, which is like the number one reason. I very specialize in one specific thing.
Die.
But I bet there's so many poor idiots that fell for traps in there. Fools.
You're okay.
Anyway, that's it. That's all we did today.
That's all we did today. Think about a coup. Oh, you didn't tell him about your gondola idea.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Oh, no.
It goes against the coup, but you know it's still a really good idea.
Okay, so my idea is that this city you can like gondola everywhere. Or it's like a taxi system, but I'm going to be the gondola assassin. So when you ride my gondola, you also unbeknownstly hired me as an assassin. And so you simply killed this gondola, you paid me, it's too late. Who do you want to kill? What do you mean who do I want to kill? The pact has been sealed. State your target. Except, here's the gimmick. That's not actually my real job. I actually work for the king. And so whenever somebody comes to me and goes, I need you to kill the king, I kill you.
Emperor.
Or emperor, whatever. And I'm actually hired to protect the emperor. But no one will ever know, because I keep killing the people who don't know.
Alright, so that none of us can ever ride your gondola.
Well, I mean, just don't say anything about the king. I have to kill you. I can't lie, remember? So once I say it, I gotta do it. Sorry. I know we're friends. I can't look the other way. I'm sorry, Sarah Mae's watching. She's also watching me kill, which makes this a really difficult job. I often think about it when I murder people. It's a very difficult choice. But sometimes...
Sarah has an assassin.
No, just... Okay, first of all, she has a ton of reformed villains, okay? So probably a handful of them are assassins. Assassins are good. So I'm just saying, whenever I kill people, I'm just like, oh man, this sucks. But, you know, I'm sure I'll be fine in the long run. You know, unless I get to Feroma, whatever her name is, and she...
Pharasma.
Pharasma. And she's like, you killed a lot of people. I'm like, ah, crap, count it. There's gotta be like a good deed to bad deed meter. And like, every time I kill a guy, the bad deed meter goes down. And then every time I like donate to the church, it's like pings up slowly. I'm probably like so far down that I gotta like work really hard to get back up. Like, oh man, this is such a challenge.
Yeah.
There's so many questions too. If you're mind control and you kill somebody, does your meter still go down?
No.
No?
No,
Oh,
because it wasn't your free will that did it.
I guess.
Your body was just the vehicle that accomplished it.
That's cool. Alright.
So there's one thing Burlock can answer.
I got so many questions, man. But I'll never know until it's already too late. Like, I'll be up at and be like, oh, that was actually nice. Like, actually, I didn't. Your killing was totally fine. I was like, I should have known. I would have killed more. But I'll never know.
Words.
I'll never know. Unless I, like, die. But I
Just, you know, ask Pharasma.
Apparently, she just doesn't ask. She doesn't ask questions. She just does. She just says, go.
No, just pray to her and ask her.
I can do that? Oh, nice try, Pan Archway. I refuse to pray to not Sarenrae. You're trying to guide me down the wrong path. I refuse. Am I not
That's
supposed to
also
people?
not how you would contact.
Of course, that too. Of course.
It's kind of hard to contact a deity that isn't the deity.
Don't you have a summoning move that can summon these things? I've seen some angels.
Pharasma! I command thee!
Pharasma
of the gods.
Pharasma something
No.
Command
Not
seal!
nearly that strong.
Just give it a week. You get stronger really quickly, you know this. It's very strange.
Oh man.
We do, but
Now
still.
I want a Pathfinder Fate Stay Night crossover.
Oh yeah, and the moon. Did you know we used to have 2 moons? That's crazy.
No.
It used to be right over
I'm gonna
there.
find a piece of it.
It's gone
You
now.
found a piece of it?
No, I want to find a piece of it. That's why we're going to the ancient civilization that was destroyed by the meteors and the moon.
These old, like, legendary people threw a rock at us, a meteor at us, and the goddess of the moon was like, no, you! And moved the moon to block it. Except she died, theoretically. Everyone thinks she died in the process. And then the meteor fell to Earth, and there's a big crater over, like, way over to the
It's filled with water now.
west. Where the meteor fell. It's crazy. Oh man, I learned so much today. History is amazing, Verloc. I never knew it was this engaging. I mean, in a sandy desert, there's not really much you can learn except the sun is the sun and the sand is the sand. But like, this is crazy.
No, you. No, you. Moon shield no jutsu.
I'm super happy.
The old things threw meteorite at us. No, you.
I forgot what a lot of it was. I'm gonna be honest. I described it as I remembered it. But anyway, off to a different.
There are a
topic.
lot of scrolls and potions you can buy here.
Yeah, but
Yay.
you might want to put your magic stuff away. Or you're gonna get corrupted by the corrupted cops. I hear this town has excellent fish, by the way. I'm going downstairs to a fish dinner of some sort.
And there's no liquor
I
allowed.
don't actually think I've ever eaten. Have I ever eaten fish?
Damn, I
Only
was
like
about to
ale
go
and
to
wine.
Well, I can still get drunk off of that.
No hard liquor though.
Good.
I can still get drunk off of the ale and
Hey,
wine.
because have you ever eaten fish?
Probably.
Somewhere along.
I mean, you guys went to a port town.
You're right.
Stayed there for a while.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Verloc is just gonna go. Verloc is probably gonna go get a big cup of ale and go to sleep. I'll be right back. I'm gonna
I'll
cheat
ask
code.
for some good fish. Wait,
Nope, not
how
allowed.
much is the good fish?
The good fish, a couple silver.
I'll ask for the good fish.
Yeah, like 3 silver.
Okay, 3 silver.
If you want like alcohol with it, it'll be more. But if you just want water, it's 3 silver.
Yeah, 3 silver is good.
Alright. You were served a grilled and seasoned fish. I believe fillet.
Alright.
And as she presents it to you, you also get like a it's chilled but doesn't have ice in it, water. And she's like, and the water it came from.
In the water it came. Oh snap! That's
Yeah, I mean the river is safe to drink from.
That's cool.
Yeah. It tastes like spring water.
Okay.
It's like chilled spring water.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, I don't know if I pay here, but I'll probably
Yeah,
put the
you
money
put some
in
money
it.
down. Yeah.
I eat the fish if the fish is ready to be eaten.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if I can judge that, but I'll eat the fish.
No, it's really good. It's local spices that you probably haven't had before, so you're not used to the flavor, but it complements the fish very well.
I need to bring this back to Buddy.
Back to me.
I'll finish eating the fish, and I will go up to the room, and what type of thing is it? It doesn't matter, I can't even like, go out a certain point or else bad things happen, so.
Well, I mean, you have magic that teleports
yeah.
you and
I forgot
stuff.
that was an option. I'm in some okay, yeah, but I'll finish food, go back to the room.
Yeah. Yep. Alright, you go back to the room.
That's pretty much it. There's no real need for me to leave tonight. We're gonna do stuff tomorrow anyway.
Yeah. You guys have maybe a week to kill here. At least that's when you're gonna go back. But you can teleport back. The Merchant Guild if you guys finish up before then. So anybody else want to do anything for the night? You grab some food if
I'll
you need.
charge the staff.
I don't think he's used it.
He's used it once. I
He
don't know
can
if
charge it too.
I don't know if I've charged it again or not, but
Easy enough. Everybody gets some food, 3 silver, whatever.
now
Charge the
feed
staff.
Lyneth.
Yep, you have food for that. So you guys call it a relatively early night. It's been a pretty busy day, lots of learning.
But to compensate, we'll wake up at 6 tomorrow.
If you want to, sure.
Nope.
I mean, you are going to bed relatively early, so
Probably.
that would be about 8 hours. So you can easily wake up at 6.
I'll wake up at 8 and I'll have that extra couple hours I've always wanted naturally. I should do this more often. Oh, this is like what my parents say I should be doing instead of what I actually do. Holy cow. Sleep early, so waking up earlier is easier. Yeah, sure thing. Oh crap, how late is it? There's one more thing I'd like to buy. I don't know.
You can get to somewhere to buy something.
Okay, I'd like to go to the...
Getting back will be questionable, but you have the ability to blip.
Oh, okay. I'd like to go to a armor...
Oh, he can blip now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to go to a weapons store.
Sure. There are 3.
Just whichever one.
Yeah, you find one. He's like packing up, but not fully closed yet.
Hey, quick purchase. Do you have a polish for my weaponry?
Yeah.
I'd like to purchase.
How much?
I fight a lot.
What's a lot?
A couple killings a day. Monsters.
Okay, I mean it doesn't take that much polish. He brings up just like a small little container. 10 gold.
Oh, I forgot! But I'm out, so I have to. I just get a sword. Well, have I ask you? I'd like less, please.
Alright.
No, I meant less money that I have to pay.
Diplomacy.
Can I pay you less?
Yes, I can give you less.
No, wait, no. I meant that amount for like 8 gold.
You're not very good at this, are you?
No.
Alright, 8 gold.
Okay, thank you. Still getting gypped out, but I don't really care at this point. Alright, give him 8 gold.
Yep.
Did you give me less?
You don't know. he took it underneath the cabinet as you were saying something.
Can I figure out from the tone of his voice? I don't care, I'm taking it. If you don't, but leave me alone, I'm done with the city.
Okay.
Okay, I don't care anymore. I don't have a lot of money, darn it. I'm nearly broke. This is for my armor. It's for celestial armor money. I'll just like blip back to town. Blip back to the room.
You just can blip to the other side of the gate and then run.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, easy enough.
As a part of my charge action. Rah! Sandy blip.
Yeah. You're not sure how magic is perceived here, so you just kind of stealth and then do it.
Oh, that's much better. Yeah, that sounds good. 8 gold. Great. Couple silver back in town, maybe even copper if I wanted the cheap stuff. Carry on.
Oh, you got a large amount.
Ah,
But yeah, is there anything else anybody needs to do tonight?
Rope trick in my room.
I thought you guys did that to have the coup discussion.
I figured that's what we did.
yes.
I
I'd
want to
also
sleep.
sleep in it. So
I want to sleep, and then for like an hour or two, like go around town looking for the marks and seeing.
Okay. So next morning,
Yeah.
you spent some hours doing that, and you notice in the residential area, which you're semi-locked in for the earlier bits of the morning, they exist more as they aren't as foot trafficked as the merchant area. Some seem to have been noticed and either scratched off or like covered up, etc. But for the most part, they're almost all there.
Right.
But again, not like recently etched in to show that it's been seen or anything.
I want to start arcane marking.
Okay.
Room.
I
Wait, it's not permanent. No. It's
I
like
believe
an
you can
hour.
have like one.
1 per hour, I thought. Or 1.
Well, one. You can have one up and it lasts.
Yeah, it only lasts like an hour.
I thought it was.
No,
it might be an hour per.
what I'm saying
The
is-
arcane mark.
It's not permanent. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
No, an arcane mark is permanent unless it's placed on a living creature. But you can only have one.
Oh, okay.
And I already put my arcane mark as open.
Is it
simple? My arcane mark?
Yeah.
Like right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
You've
so
seen it.
Oh, right.
It's on my iPad.
Right, I forgot.
I guess I'll just take a mental note of where they are.
Okay.
See if I can get like a chisel tomorrow.
Be sculpting? I want to sculpt.
Sure. No.
we have an any tool.
It can even be a shovel.
You can form
Yeah.
it into any tool,
Yeah.
like a chisel.
Yeah, but.
He keeps saying yeah, but I'm not sure. So yeah, you spent some
Thinking
time.
about it.
You spent some time doing that. Easy enough, and then by that time Sahar is awoken, rising slowly, gets some breakfast, etc., etc. So what's the plan for today? Did a lot of research yesterday. Book research.
Today we go straight up to the Arcane Society and be like, hey, we're interested in joining your ranks.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
We also have a love of all things arcane and helping those in need. And you do one of these motions so they know you're serious. We're ready. Oh, I forgot about that. There you go.
Cafe deal.
Alright.
We were born for this. Sometimes we literally have bloodlines. That means we were born for this. But let's do it nonetheless.
19.
19 on what?
First ankle die.
Being magic. Oh, okay.
Oh shit.
Being magic.
And I've doubled my crit range, so it's a crit.
That's a crit.
I'm being
And
mad.
extra magic.
Extra magical.
Which would be inaccurate, actually, no. Think about it.
So you do not know where the Arcane Society currently is, or is, period. So you can ask someone, go back to the map lady, wander around for a while.
I guess that please.
Well, Alex can scribe for it. They probably have a
With
big
what
sign out front
target?
that says Arcane Society. Oh no, is it? Oh, that's not Alex. It was John who had that eye in the sky thing. Not her.
Yeah, John Fire had the Arcane Eye that
Yeah,
described.
might be. I got those confused.
I mean, you could learn it if you want.
Well, I know it's. I have little insects that do that. I have little insects that do that. I forgot. Oh jeez. You know, I was about to like flavor those to be scarabs, and then I realized people would be like, "Crap, man, we're in the Arctic. What's the scarab doing here?" And it wouldn't make sense. So I just decided to make it be like the bug of the region, like it says on the spell.
Yeah.
So, or what was it? It's like a beetle specifically, whatever's native to the area.
Yeah.
I don't know. But ideas.
Alright.
Where is Alex? I didn't even notice he vanished.
He said he'd be back.
You want to-
In his room. Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense.
So, who's leading the charge?
Not me, because I have no clue where we're going. How are we gonna figure out what direction to charge in?
I guess
I
I'll
guess
lead
I'll-
them back to the map. The map lady.
Oh, right, we decided we were going to the map lady. Yeah, it's a little early, so she's enjoying some tea at the moment. Yes!
This is a map lady?
Do you happen... Hello again. Do you happen to know where we might find the Arcane Society? We heard that they had a base headquarters here.
I think that's on the west side of the market district. Pretty west. But that's about all I know.
Okay. Thank you.
If you ask someone up
Arcane.
there, if you ask someone in that area, I'm sure they'll be able to get you there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Head there.
All right.
Do.
On your way there, you see 13. What are they called? A group of 13 bald, orange-robed
Actually, I think we need to get y'all stuff registered
monks,
first. So let's do that.
cultists, etc. chanting and dancing, and they come up to you, and 3 of them, or 5 of them, just hand you a flower and continue on. Like each of you get a flower, and they just continue chanting and
I checked
dancing
myself.
away. Okay, it's all
Yeah.
there.
I think we're gonna register their magic armor and stuff first before we go.
Okay.
That was prime stealing.
Just as a
You guys
note.
don't see it. I see it. It's a prime maneuver.
No, I was gonna say
What
the same
kind of
thing.
flower is this? Profession herbalist.
Okay.
25.
I'm gonna go give it to the map owner, Granny.
The granny map over.
Yeah, the Granny map owner.
It is a red hot poker, also known as torch lilies. It's an orange flower.
I run inside, give it to the map lady.
Okay.
Here you go.
What? Is that a gold?
No, it's flour.
Oh, I guess information's worth a flower these days.
Oh, I'd like to know your name.
Layla.
Oh, thank you, Layla. Bye. And I'll leave. Equivalent exchange. I asked for something worth of flour and money and information. I wasn't gonna ask a question, but she apparently asked. It needed was something, so. Okay. Okay.
Okay, you run back up to meet up with your friends.
Okay, so we're gonna go get their stuff registered if they want that. Do you want to register your hero?
Just so we're not.
You probably should run into your arm.
Probably at least the armor. You can hide the
weapons.
weapons.
Yep.
Oh, on your tree. Make sure they don't kill themselves. Just kidding. That's my job.
Boy.
What? How are you guys dying?
I don't know.
Do you want to register anything while we are in this town?
We just need to register our armor and our weapons, right?
Or you can hide the weapons. But it's gonna be kind of hard to hide the armor.
I'm just gonna register mine.
I'm gonna register my weapon.
Register both of mine.
Okay, so you guys go to the government building. It's on the east side of the marketing district, so not exactly where you want to be, but it's in the right area, and you cross the bridge, etc. So you're not too far off from where you need to start asking, and you could probably ask somebody here if you wanted. They are government official to some degree. But you wait in a short line because it is quite early in the morning. You get asked what your business is.
Pleasure? What
We
kind of
are-
business?
Not to enter, but why are you at the building?
We at the gate.
We're
Oh,
here to
You're at the government
register
building.
our equipment.
Oh, I see. How many arms?
One for sure.
Wait, arms? Does that include arm?
Magical armor and
Magical arms, as in magical weaponry. How many are you registering?
2 for me.
2, and she gives you 2 forms. 1 form for
One.
you. None for you 2.
Is it any?
I'm more magic myself.
What gets
Not so good
included
with
in that
weapons.
Magic swords, hammers,
Or
bows.
Yeah, magic beat 'em ups and
Armor.
armor.
Oh, armor
No,
is coming
armor is
next.
Oh, okay. So this is
Oh.
And I'll assume Altiar is registering, so I'll give him
Yes.
the imaging. Alright, now how many magic armors?
Is that specifically
One.
magical armor?
Yes.
Can I hand her
My
back
My
one
spell
of
doesn't
the
count.
arms forms?
Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you. And you one for you, and I think Altiar has one too, so. You guys fill it out. It's basically what type of weapon / armor you're wearing, a accurate description of it, its enchantments, your name, a description of you, where you're from, etc., etc. So they can match up armors to the person.
If we get our weapons / armor upgraded or changed while they're here, do we need to come back and
You
update
can't
the
Or
do
you
form?
can't
that.
while you're here.
I got some. Bad
Unless
news.
you get a permit.
I got some bad news for you. You weren't here for that discussion. Yeah, it's not the time for that.
Good to know.
Yes, I mean, if you come back into town, we would like an update.
Okay.
It's not super pressing because
Is
it's
it?
still the base, but
Is it essentially just coming here saying, hey, I need
yeah,
to
you
update
need to
my form?
update your form and then you
Okay.
can quickly change it. So you guys all fill that out and you get receipts for each item that you registered. Please keep these with you. If a guard asks you for your registration, please present these to them. And it has a seal and a signature on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Have a great day. And you guys can head back out. Safe of getting your arms and armors confiscated and having to pay 500 gold each.
Alright.
Oh, I guess I do have a dagger. I guess I'll have that
I
registered.
ain't taking
Forgot
around
I
this
had.
now.
Yeah.
I'll fight with
Yeah.
daggers. I'll fight with daggers if we get in a street fight. Screw it.
Just breaking the daggers.
D4. Oh man, these don't feel good. They're accurate though. The quick range is nice.
Quick range is nice. The to hit doesn't feel that good, but you know.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask her for directions to the Arcane Society.
I believe they're the on this side of the river, the most west building, and I believe they have 2 or 3 other buildings right in that cluster as well.
Okay, thank you.
Just Wait, is that just a random person you asked?
No,
No, it's a government person.
Is there any
Person.
difference between the buildings?
I believe one is more of their office where they like to meet people. One is where they do their research and item creation, and one is a storage for awaiting people to come pick up their purchases.
Okay.
I believe. I mean, it could also be practice arenas for them. I'm not sure, but that's the type of buildings they have registered.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Alright, so,
On we go.
On we go.
what's the plan?
We're gonna try to join them.
Hey.
If that doesn't work, there's always the plan B.
I refuse to do plan B, whatever it is. I have no clue what you're talking about, but I'm not doing it.
I know what plan B is, and I don't.
I feel
What is plan B?
I kind of want to do plan A,
Mhm.
but I do plan A
What
because
is
it doesn't
it?
involve you. Let's do plan A. Alright, where is this place, by the way?
It's
West, right?
It's very west, yeah.
Alright, let's just go west. See what happens.
It's not
Go
the,
west, young
it-
adventurers.
it's not that plan B, it's a different plan B.
Never mind.
Fireball.
You're probably still not gonna like it, but
What's
it's
plan
not
B?
the one we discussed earlier.
That's plan B.
Feeble mind of the things.
Off to the west.
Takes them out of the problem area.
Don't worry, me and Matt traded magical items. I can't be disintegrated and Matt can shoot fireballs.
What?
You have the
Oh,
my
that
staff
ring is
of
actually
fire,
for Ver.
and I have a ring of anti-disintegration.
That
No,
goes
I
back to
understand.
Verla.
I gave it to you because you asked for it for one fight.
Yeah,
And
you
I
were
gave-
out
I
of
gave it
stuff.
back.
I would have definitely.
You have it back.
Okay, well that's
Yeah,
Verla's
you
ring.
Okay, I'll take it
So
back. And then
So
I.
he's walking around town with a giant staff on his back.
It looks like a quarterstaff. It's a black quarterstaff that's gnarled, but yeah. Staves aren't illegal here.
yeah, because that's a magic item. That's not considered
The law is very dumb.
and very specific.
Here's the ring.
Yep.
It's almost like the king doesn't get exposure to combat, so he just thinks weapons and shields and stuff.
Sure is it
The loopholes of destiny. I'm gonna sneak attack with a quarterstaff.
Sneak attack with the quarterstaff.
More and more.
Did you sneak attack with a bludgeoning weapon?
You
I'm
can,
sure
but
you
it
can.
does non-lethal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's a bunch of non-lethal.
Okay, well that's a sap
Okay.
in the feet. Alright.
Yeah, it doesn't work with like if I have a table. A table leg. Like boom, nothing. Oh.
I'm sure there's a rogue talent for it.
Yeah,
There
it's
is.
called
There
it's called like the anything brawler where you can just like if you can fight with it, you can fight with
There's
it.
also a whole build with sap.
Oh,
Just dealing non-lethal damage, but
Yeah,
actually
super
like knocking
broken.
people out in like 2 hits. It's great.
What sucks is that it actually really fits the path I'm going down here. That I discovered it way too late. I'm knee deep in what I'm doing right now. And I think what I'm doing is much better. I just haven't got to use it on anybody. The dragon nearly one-shot me. Thanks.
Thanks. So yeah, you guys continue westward. It's a little misguided. You pass by the Merchant Guild, and you know that's not right. You keep going west, pass by a couple of buildings, and it's getting more and more forested. And there's almost like an entire wall of trees that you guys push through. And you see 4 buildings, one that seems to not have anything to do with the Arcane Society, and then 3 more, one that you can only see like a little bit of, and then 2 that are like this with each other,
Okay.
that seem to have the Arcane Society either storage or factory written upon them.
Is there like an insignia that clearly marks them as the Arcane Society, or no?
So,
I would really like
There
a
you go.
giant neon
You
sign
have
that
let me
says
try.
Arcane
I'm
Society.
making my own
This-
divine society.
Secrets?
oh no, I just like playing with it.
Oh,
I want to make my own society of light.
really close.
Find the light.
And
It's
I will
it's just a
change
simple
my name
A and an
Sartorius.
S. It's red A
I'll
and
be
then
cult.
blue S.
You mean Lothar?
Now.
Or Arthas?
You were told that they prefer to meet
Different
people
roads.
in their office building, which is
Two
the
different
furthest
roads.
back
Wow.
building.
We
So-
go there.
You bypass the storage and factory, as it's so called, buildings, and are led to the main office of the Arcane Society, which looks like a home that's been converted into an office space.
Interesting.
A large
Very easy to
home,
picture.
but
Not quite
a
a
home
mansion,
nonetheless.
but
Yeah,
just like your average home around like East Cobb area.
it's like 4-5 bedroom plus office home.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Now, yeah.
That seems to be reconfigured on the inside to be more of an office layout.
Okay.
Um,
I'm surprised it's not extra dimensional. Okay. As far as I can tell.
yeah. I mean, there's no lock on the door. You just kind of open the door.
Into the lines then.
Sure. Go
I'll
on.
go in.
You.
Disguise this minx. No, I'm not.
And I did the mage armor this morning, as I always do.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just to clarify that.
You walk in and you see a desk with a elderly man behind it. Oh, elderly woman. I'm sorry.
Old person.
Yep. She seems to be more of a secretary. Behind her, there are stairs going up. There is like a passway behind her that leads to somewhere you're not quite sure. Two like archways that seem to lead to more office space on both sides. Oh, can I help you?
Yes, we were looking.
What?
We were looking to learn more about the Arcane Society.
Oh, okay. Do you want some soft candy?
No,
Yes!
thank you.
One.
Okay, hard candy hurts my teeth.
I love it.
Now this place ain't so bad.
Yeah, this is good.
So, what can I help you with?
Well, could you tell me a little bit more about the Arcane Society?
Candy.
Yes, it's it.
Well, I only work here part-time. I'm not arcane myself, but everyone else here is arcane. And they do arcane things and help people. What is your problem? I can have you arrange to meet someone who could help you with your problem. Or have you already come in?
We've not come in before, no.
Okay.
What type of application process is it to possibly join their ranks?
Oh, joining? I believe you need to meet with a senior member for one of those meetings. Do you have any qualifications?
I am an arcane user.
Well, yes, but not all arcane users are accepted. It's somewhat exclusive, and there's a certain personality that they like to recruit.
Are any non-arcane users accepted? It's a shot in the dark. Ever.
We can hand you
It's their
this.
history.
I think they hire muscle to help move storage to other cities sometimes.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I don't think we have one of those positions ready right now.
It's okay. That's not kind of the position I was looking for.
If you'd like, you can leave your name and contact information, and I'll let you know when we have a position.
Can you get us a meeting with one of those senior members?
It's quite early.
Or at least set up a time for a meeting?
Well, I can try. One moment. They might be having breakfast right now.
I can help out with that.
Elad, are you there? Elad! And you just see let me roll a random percentile dice to see which one that percentile number checks. Well, that doesn't work because that was a male name. Let's try again. 3. That works. 1, 2, 3. You see a half-elven man with a green cloak and a very ornate necklace. Pop his head around. Can I help you? Yes, these people want to join. And he's just kind of... One moment, please. And you just hear him, could you get me some more? Yeah, thanks. And you see him kind of like brushing himself off as he comes back around this time. Yes, you want to join our society?
Possibly. We wanted to learn a little bit more about it. There isn't much in books and that sort of thing.
I became magic like a month or wait, no, it's a year now. I became magic like a year ago from like a dream.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I want to figure more of this out.
He comes from magical lineage, however.
Never knew. Well, I mean, I knew, but I never knew I had it in me.
Your mom.
I don't know how bloodlines work anymore. Now I do. And hopefully I'll learn more.
Well, that's fine. We are somewhat exclusive, not because we want to turn people away, but we do have a certain background isn't exactly the word. We have a sort of work ethic and not duty, but will to serve our community, and we look for people who are in line with those ideals, as well as are either powerful enough to carry those out or are unique or utility enough to be useful to those who are powerful enough. So if you have any examples of proven strength, giving back to community, etc., I would love to hear about it, but let's move to a meeting room first so we don't take up the foyer. And at this point, the old woman, yeah, get out of here! It's my space! And you see her kind of like dozing off and then coming back.
And it's Tom.
So you're led into what was probably a bedroom, if not office space before, which has been converted to have a couch, 2 chairs, a small desk, and a chair behind it, which he takes a seat in, and he just feel free to sit, stand, whatever you're more comfortable with. And please close the door behind you. There are our nightly guard that watches our facilities is next door sleeping.
I'll shut the door. I'll shut it as we walk in.
I assure you there's no danger in joining. It's just we do produce magical items which are worth a pretty penny, so we do need someone to watch the grounds to make sure thievery doesn't occur.
Is he strong? Fair.
I mean, otherwise he wouldn't really be employed, so yeah.
It's a cool, super strong night duty. I like this guy. I want to meet him.
He works at night and he just went to sleep.
Probably also busy when he's at night too. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, he does have days off, but for the most part, he is quite busy. So, about your commitment to the community and or magical prowess?
Do you mean Belor as the community?
We have
or...
a number of offices around the continents. To any of those communities, we'd be more than happy to hear about your commitment to them. We understand that you're more committed to your hometown or home country, whatever it may be, but...
Well, I don't know if you guys have a base where I'm from.
Well, there are a few countries. We do not have one in the Elven lands, as that is, you know. We don't have one in Montum, as their government is a little iffy. Itera has been slow to get back to us on our application process, and I think we have one in every other country, whether it be small or growing, what may you. This was the first one and is the original one, and we do have 2 in Belor because we are relied more heavily upon in Belor, which is why commitment is very important.
Okay.
What's the name of that? The school?
Atation.
Are you just curious? Are you guys affiliated with the Tassion in any way?
A number of our members are either alumni or went there for a short period of time, but Not directly, no.
Okay.
Tachyon is very much so exclusive and has no
More-
ties with anyone.
Okay. I'm divine. I have no further questions.
I don't know what you're talking about. I too have no further questions.
I was asking if you have any examples of your commitment to local communities or examples of your arcane prowess.
Oh, I can cast some pretty high level spells.
Okay.
I'm not arcane, so I guess technically
He
I'm not
heals us
allowed
back
in,
up when we
but
get into
I'm
it.
sorry. I mean, you're more than welcome. We do have some jobs for non-arcane people. They're generally escort based.
I have most efficiently calculated the most efficient way to stab a man with magic. Arcane magic!
He's not wrong. He's actually not wrong.
And how do you use that to better serve your community?
By
We get rid of a
Healing
lot of
the French.
monsters.
oh, monster slaying.
We're not really an adventurers guild, unfortunately. We're more of a.
I also help the kingdom I'm from by doing missions for them and my magic.
We're
helps.
more of.
It's a hard thing.
Honestly, out of all of us, I think I've got the most community-based magic, as I regularly feed our party.
Yeah, but not community service.
Yeah, he helps. He
Like-
restored somebody's hand, remember?
Yes, I make sure
How's
that
go?
Was it really you? Or was it Outsu?
he kind of gives me the ability.
Yeah, exactly.
But I,
You are but his vessel.
yes, but I do heal diseases as they come up. I do take care of wounds, take care of the sick, as
Not
much as I
much
can,
damage.
feed people as much as I can. I mean, I guess it's not your typical community work, but
To be honest,
I am fairly highly skilled.
I understand.
So,
As an arcane caster, how do you help out your community
Well,
with magic?
That's a good question.
Because most arcane magic is very, I want to say, selfish and destructive.
somewhat.
correct, but you can also use it for good. For example, if someone is traumatized by a certain memory that they wish to forget, it is possible with arcane magic to
That
rid them
triggers
of
my
that.
party, however.
Wait, what?
We've done that.
Nope.
So, no, hold on. So you're
I'm
saying it's
leaving.
possible to actually.
I'm leaving. I'm gone. I'm leaving.
I mean, you
this-
don't
Sorry.
remember that conversation. You were too
You're
drunk.
saying it's possible to actually rewrite memories?
Yes, but I
Yes.
still don't like it as a principle. So I'm.
I mean, we only do it with consent from them.
I take out a piece of paper
Of
and
course.
write something down. Put it
I
away.
mean, as well as we can remove curses laid upon people,
I can do
we
that.
can help rid enchantments upon people.
Oh, I do that a lot. I break a lot of
I'm going to
enchantments,
level with
especially
you.
on this one.
She's a lot
Hey.
better at
He
magic
seems
than
to
I
be
am,
like a
and I use
magnet for
magic
them.
as sort of a,
Especially those
what's the
curses.
word?
Because they know how strong I
A
am.
way of helping
An
defeat
assistant
monsters.
tool to help. So I help people, but I don't think it's really the arcane part of me that does the helping. So
You augment yourself in battle
Exactly.
with arcane to
So-
help people.
So I help people, but it's not my arcane magic that helps people. So maybe I'm not quite fitting this test
yeah,
here.
I mean, you can also summon creatures that can help people with arcane magic.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Well, I mean, I'm not sure about you, but it's
Oh.
possible too in the realm of
Oh,
arcane magics to summon things that can help
Yeah.
people.
He's good
Um,
at transporting us places,
I can.
which
I can
tends to be from the
transport us to
arcane
anywhere in the world
line.
once a day.
Some people do have issues with monsters, but generally that's left to the Adventurers Guild, unless it's highly magical and outside of the scope of the Adventurers Guild. We also do a good amount of research because we're based internationally. If people need information that may not be located here, we can receive it for them and give it to them. We can also help find lost things. It's all about giving back to the community, and
Are
it's
you
not
good?
necessarily about how big or small but about your commitment to the community.
Are you good at finding people who are lost?
Yes, however, it's quite difficult to find someone if they have perished. Because of the way an arcane spell works, as well as if there are certain, if they're not on this plane, then it's hard, very hard. We could help with that, but it is a very tall task, as I myself do not specialize in that magic. The only thing I can think of is a simple locate creature spell, which is proximity based, maybe a scrying spell to try to find them, but that you would have to be on the same plane as them, and then there's infinite planes, finding which one they're on and then casting scry and it being successful. It's quite difficult, but if say a farmer went missing, that's nothing. But if you're looking for, say, a king who's been kidnapped, that is orchestrated by someone powerful enough to know how to counter magics that would be looking. So yes, we can help find local folk who may have broken their leg, fallen in the river, and can't swim, and are now located in the forest. That's easy. However, an adventuring party who got separated because they ran away from the monster this way, that way, and haven't heard from their party member, that is where it could potentially be difficult if they are alive, if they're on this plane, etc. But we generally don't handle huge issues like that because they just don't really arise that often. It's more of just giving back to the community. We also, if there isn't a scroll for sale on River Row, then people can come here, request we craft it for them, and they can pick it up in a day or two. Same thing with potions and potentially magic items. That's how we fund ourselves. As well as any magical issues the kingdom has, we deal with.
What kind of magical issues have you guys dealt with?
I mean, there's rumors of cursed farmlands. Generally, those don't turn out to be true.
Are there any
What we expect.
Are there any you need dealing with?
At the moment, I mean, I don't think so, but I don't handle giving out quests. I generally, locker room talk, I mean, I might hear, oh, I gotta go do this, and then a little bit later. I deal with enchantment, mostly.
Okay.
I'm very good at enchanting things, people, creatures, etc.
Right. Yeah.
So, fighting or discovering a secret, not really my specialty here. So you're not really talking to the right guy about that. I can tell you that there isn't anything that needs enchanting right now. Other than my just daily waiting for anyone to come in and request something, and I take it over to the, as we call it, the factory, where we have a lot of mages in training, learning how to craft things, and I oversee their work.
Is there a test we need to pass?
I mean, it's generally, you tell me about your commitment to communities, and you demonstrate, generally, your magical prowess.
Oh, am I able to pass the second one? Oh, wait a minute.
You have to pass both, unfortunately.
No,
We are, not to brag on purpose, but we are exclusive and well sought after.
Let me make a magical warrior department.
I mean, you're more than welcome to go to the government building and create your own guild. I've been applied to.
Can I attach it to this one? Come on.
Did you guys start
Arcane
here?
Warrior Society, AWS.
Nope. Making myself
Imagine.
five kills.
So did the society start here in Belor?
Yes, this is actually the first building that we acquired.
How old is it?
I I believe we're about to hit our
Called the Arcane
their
Warrior Society.
12th year, I believe. I was not here for the originating of the society, but I believe I was here within the first year. And I have moved my way up through the ranks since
The
then.
Divine Union.
The Divine Union. We challenge it. It's called the church.
I mean, we have no issue with churches.
Understandable.
It's just we are a society based off Arcane.
Look, I'm gonna
And
be
it's
honest.
tradition at this
The
point.
physical test don't let me use magic, and the magic test don't let me use physical. I can't pass either of you guys' things.
Physical test?
Oh no, it wasn't in this time. Don't worry about it. But like the point is that like, isn't there a magical organization for half magic people? Come on.
I'm sure there is somewhere.
Oh, I never thought about that.
But from the way you're talking, it seems like you all travel a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, the society is you generally are tied to a location.
Oh, that's not.
Do you
for
have
me.
any needs
That's
for
her.
like contracting work where we would travel?
I think that's probably more the Adventurers Guild.
The Adventurers Guild generally travels. There is sometimes work that comes up that does require one or more members to travel. If it's a simple shipment, then we'll send only generally one of the higher ranking ones to oversee, and some of the aspiring mages along with hired help to oversee. But for the most part, we don't really leave. We're more community based.
Can I send some out of them?
Sure.
Yeah. I was about to do the same.
I believe.
15.
Okay.
I don't.
30.
All right.
What was the specific statement where?
Oh, they're just trying to get a general feel on him.
Oh, I didn't know that you could do
Trying
that.
to be a.
I'll try to do it.
It's harder, but
All right, general. Got it.
I have the feeling out of character he's very sincere.
all right. What everybody get?
15.
15,
30.
30,
28.
28. Yeah, he doesn't seem to be lying. He seems to be honest. I mean, he's giving you the best he knows of. Do you have anything current that needs to be done elsewhere? Like, he doesn't seem to be his
Department.
department.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have anything over there that needs to be done.
Yep.
In terms of Itera, how long has your application been outstanding?
I mean, I don't handle it. That's more of very upper management, like the Spell Queen herself, and maybe her right hand man. But I think a year, maybe more or less.
Have fun passing the test, then. All right. I'm gonna go sit in the corner.
I'm not quite sure. I only heard about it somewhat recently that we were trying to expand there. I mean, we're trying to be, everywhere. So I only heard recently that that was our next step. Seems somewhat strange because we had been slowly moving around the other way through Ephraia, then Koshals, and then Igni, and so I thought next would be Montum, but
Montum's in
what
a
I've
little bit
heard-
of a chaotic state at the moment.
I've heard similar things, so I mean, maybe it does make sense to try to skip over them and go to Itera. And I mean, I do understand the Elven Land is kind of a dream at this point, the way they are. But yeah, I don't know what's keeping them from getting back to us, but we hope to hear back soon with favorable news.
Okay. Well, I just realized we still technically haven't answered your question. Do you have any examples of just the sort of thing you'd be looking for?
Well, you provided a decent number of examples, but again, I'm very sorry
Yeah,
that's
I
our team
understand.
It's just giving back to the community. If you see
I mean, we
someone
helped after
need-
the attack on the city.
Yeah, but we
Rebuilding
could
and
have done that
whatnot.
without magic.
I don't know, I mended a lot of things.
Well,
That's
your
true.
community service doesn't have to be arcane based. We can teach you how to weave arcane and your community service together. It's just the will to give back to a community. And I hate to be a damper, but emergency states are generally excluded because it's somewhat expected. It's generally we're looking for someone who is constantly trying to give back to their community, not just because the community absolutely needs it at that moment. It's just what they want to do.
And Verloc is just thinking, no way is that this party. In any sort of way. Well, unfortunately, it looks like not going to be too much help. But I guess if any non-arcane positions come up,
Of course.
I can leave my name with you. And
Sure.
please be an escort.
And he like pushes pen and paper towards you.
And I'll write down my name and everything.
If you both really wish, you can still show your arcane prowess if you wish. And I don't have final say on if you make it in or not. I'm simply going to.
Who does?
It's kind of a council, and it goes up to a vote. I will present to you in the most neutral stance I can, and tell them what you've told me. I will denote what spells you use, how well you use them, just to make sure you're not new to it, almost. There's no mess ups, no like you have to take 2 tries or anything like that. And I will present all of that to the council, and I'll describe you all, and it will go to a vote. And if you guys would like to come back, probably either late today or tomorrow, I will probably have the results ready for you, because we probably won't vote till maybe lunch, maybe a little after that.
Okay. You up for this?
He left.
Oh, right,
Sahar's-
he left. So it's
Sahar's
just me.
sulking in the
I'm
corner.
pouting.
Sahar, you want to join me?
In what?
The test.
Of the
Yeah,
star stuff.
I'm not making it in anyway. Might as well try. Am I free to take it regardless?
Come on, cheering
Yes,
squad.
I told you. I mean, you're free to take it, and I will present your.
I will pass the crap out of this.
Is there
It's all
a
happening.
way to watch the test happen?
Yeah, of course. Just
Alright.
follow me.
Alright, I'll follow you.
So amazing.
Otherwise, I was just gonna be going over to the
That'd
adventure
be
skills.
fools not to accept me after they see you.
See if there's any high pain.
Are you waiting like on the bench in the waiting room with the old lady?
I didn't leave.
Okay, so after a minute or two, they come out with him leading. If you would like to watch your friends, they're willing to show off their arcane prowess.
You're gonna take it?
No,
I'm surprised. Why not?
can't help. I don't have any spells that do that. I can kill things real well, but they don't do that.
You could hunt for communities if they're running low on food. That's something. If
But that doesn't use my arcane ability. That uses my normal bow ability.
They teach you
Yeah,
how
faster.
to integrate the arcane with helping the community. That's one of the things the society does.
I'll just watch you guys. It's fine.
alright.
Alright. So, do you need a target, or are you going to just fire it into there? Either way is fine. It doesn't affect your score or anything like that. It's just if you're doing more targeted based magic like I do, where I target a creature of some kind, I would need to go and bring someone who can summon a creature.
Well, we could do a target. That's fine.
Okay.
I don't
Or
actually
a
know if-
multitude of targets. As
Oh.
long as they're not
What's
fire
going on right now?
resistant.
Is it for her specifically? What's going down?
He's asking both of you.
I mean, it's a cone-shaped burst. I guess I
Do
don't
you need
technically
a
have to
target
have
to
targets.
demonstrate your arcane
No,
prowess,
wait.
or are you just going to like fireball this guy.
I definitely need a target.
Oh, I was just
Okay,
thinking-
I'll be right back. And he runs back inside.
Yeah, actually, that's a better idea. I need a pennant. Go.
A few moments later, he returns with.
Wait a minute.
2 people.
Anyone could pretty much. Sir, I think I've wasted your time.
Sahar, just
Okay,
go. Then.
that's
Why not?
fine.
He comes back with this guy.
As a statue?
No.
No.
Just this guy.
Oh, just like
Fucking
the flat guy. Wait. Like, he's the target?
Oh no, he can summon creatures.
Oh!
I cannot.
He creates the targets.
Yes. Do you require any constraints on the creatures?
I needed to have at least, at most, the 2 eyes.
I've
I've had a bad time with things that have more than 2 eyes.
Okay. And you?
I don't necessarily need a target, so.
Okay. Azan, if you will. And he takes about 6 seconds, and then you see a large earth elemental appear.
Darn it!
Here's your target if you need it.
Oh, is this the training room from Smash Bros. Melee? I see.
I mean, he summoned a creature that fit your description of needing 2 eyes.
Darn it. I have to blow my darn fake sneak attack on this. Alright.
No, that was the break the targets music.
Crap, man. Okay. I'll just go and do it. That's fine. I'm gonna stand there and shoot a beam at it. I don't even have to be invisible right now, man. It wasn't Scorching Ray, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Scorching Ray. It was Scorching Ray.
Okay, it's like 1 beam right now, right?
Bruh.
I have 2 beams.
You have 2 beams?
I'm leveled up because of the thing that gives my spell level higher.
Choose your
Okay.
highest
I'm
spell
13
level.
caster.
Okay.
Choose your highest level spell, bro.
What? But this actually does my most optimal damage. My highest
So you're
level.
level 12 caster level, right?
No, I should be 11 plus 2.
11.
It's 4 plus 5. No, you're
That's
right.
nine.
It is 11.
Because you have 4 levels in Rogue. Those are non-casting.
Those are the ones that don't count.
And then you have a trait that reduces it by 2.
Yes.
Or increases your caster level by 2.
Yeah.
And then
I
his
think
number
that's it.
level is 14. So
Yeah. So it's 12th level.
I guess I could have him summon something and do resonating word instead.
Okay. You fire off the scorching rays at the creature.
I'll make them vitals.
Okay.
They have to do multiple
2
targets.
sneak attack
This-
once a day.
I don't know how they would feel if I ended up
Go
sending
ahead,
it to
roll
another
damage.
plane, though. Which is
Hmm?
the violet beam.
Who knows? What you want to make sure is it doesn't hit any stray targets.
Nick, do you have the page pulled up?
For
It's
larger
okay. There's a good
No,
chance
it's
it
not
only
super.
does some
Oh,
damage.
yeah.
Could you just
Yeah,
tell me
you
how
just
much I have to roll here?
spray.
Oh, I
All of
know,
a
but I
sudden,
can't
one
get it up.
judges
One second.
is now on the fire elemental plane.
Yeah, one less person to vote.
It's 5d6.
Each
One gets
ray
the
is
centigrade
4d6.
Thank you.
Gets sent to
Or, you
another
know,
plane.
insane or turned to stone
insane, yeah, one's
or
stone.
poisoned.
And then the thing with
With the
summoned-
secondary effect of death.
Oh, and you get 3 rays,
Yeah,
by
exactly.
the way.
Oh, thank you.
The
Yeah.
one that's summoned, that's fine. You missed. It rolled a 20. Everyone else rolled ones. Or you could be using all these dice to make it easier.
Okay, that's a clean number, I guess.
Okay.
Alright. Do you want them separate?
I want you to roll the hit, sir.
Oh, thank you.
What do you roll, Alex?
That's a 10.
He
plus-
Okay,
It's
yeah.
touch versus 8.
Oh, I see.
Roll 3 times.
Oh,
You have to check for once.
Oh, there's only 2
16
beams.
plus
Yeah, okay.
17 plus.
Okay, so what's your total?
GG.
So, fire damage
Yeah.
is going to be 42.
Okay.
Okay,
Stab.
now the rest.
No, it's not from that.
This is gonna take forever.
Do you need more d6?
Yeah, just handle them. I don't need
Needs.
It's okay. These will just, I'll just repeat these over and over.
Yeah, there you go. Cool. Don't worry about the rest. I look like dying in my car. No, okay. Oh, that balanced out rather nicely.
$17, $18. So that's 40. Total. Plus 2, 4, 13.
Nice to meet my friend Alex. 40 plus 13?
Yeah.
53 precision.
Alright, and it poofs away.
Oh yeah! Hiya!
Alright.
And that was only a level 2!
Only.
Oh, does it ask for another test there? I can't repeat this.
Would you rather see more of a debuff spell or a pure damaging spell?
Whichever you're more comfortable with.
This is probably
Can other
gonna be
people
her
tell that
highest
I
level
used
fight.
other means to improve my attack?
I guess I'll take a couple of
Depends on how
targets.
perceptive.
As long as
A
you're not
few?
attached to them, yeah.
Alright.
Don't delete this.
Any specifications?
I rolled a lot of 6s though.
Okay.
That they stand over there.
Did they stand
Not
away from the judges?
Away from the audience, please.
Sure.
Oh no, okay, I'm just gonna not be in
Nope.
there.
Nope.
I understand.
Behind me is safe.
Wait a second. Oh, I got it.
Everyone's about to be in danger of choking on their own tongue.
No, that's not what this does.
Nah. I'm not gonna summon a target as well.
He summons 3 medium earth elementals.
Ah.
Well, I'm gonna prismatic spray once everybody's out of the way, other than those
Yeah.
three.
Okay. Roll a d8 for each of them.
Oh, is this a good spell?
Do I or do you?
Prismatic.
You do.
right?
Would you like 2?
I'd love it,
That
Jay.
was earth elemental.
There's 2 more.
That's a 6 for the first one.
I don't even have it pulled up.
I have it right here. 6, 1, and 3.
6, 1, 3.
And if they have
Wait,
less than 8
it's-
hit die, they are blinded for.
They are.
After the class tomorrow, so.
Yeah, no, we're gonna call it after this.
Okay.
I think it's 2d4.
Yeah, it's late.
3 rounds.
Almost 11:30.
Yep. Well, very impressive. And they're all gone. Well,
Okay.
the first one is, I don't know if Earth Elementals can go insane.
They're not mindless. So I assume so.
No.
They get a will negate.
Yeah, but they can't pass UDC
I'd
because
assume
they're
you could dominate.
sorceries.
Yeah, if you can dominate them, I'd assume they can go insane.
Yeah, so that one seems to be acting very strange. Alright, but yeah, impressive. I will see you either tonight or tomorrow with your results.
I almost want to say don't bother for me, but I'll come anyway because this place is kind of cool.
Alright, good luck
Thank
with
you.
your Arcane Warriors.
Thank you. We'll work. Oh, that's a good name.
I thought that's what you said.
No, it's the Arcane Warriors Society, but just a flat Arcane Warriors. That's cool. I have the logo. It'll be perfect. A big red A with a blue W right beneath it.
Arcane
You're
Soldiers.
right. That's a rip-off. I'm sorry. Blue A, red W.
Okay, okay, technically.
It'll be great. Oh, it's gonna be cool. I don't know who will join though. I have a very niche skill
Where
set.
is that?
But Burlock will join. Of course. I
I'm
have
not
3
Arcane,
members.
buddy.
10 is also a magic item. Pan will join.
I'll join.
Eleanor's not allowed. She's very limited. She can join this place.
Where
Ah.
is this?
And no rules. You can't be money grubbing. We only accept humble people.
Money grubbing?
We're only the humble allowed in my society. Oh wait, what did you say was you?
I am profitable, thank you very much.
Nickname tomato tomato.
God.
Okay, so that's it for tonight.
Oh, the Johnny problem.
Bro, straight up.
Oh my god.